Welcome to another episode of You'll Only Listen Twice, our podcast where we're taking a look at all the Bond films, both official and unofficial. As always, I'm Jake.
I'm Troy.
And I'm very excited to be talking about a cinematic masterpiece tonight.
Shut up.
Yes, and here with us to talk about this cinematic masterpiece is our beloved guest. We already had him on the podcast once before, our beloved composer.
Jan's dead wife?
Close.
Oh.
It's Mikey. He's back.
Yay.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back in the house. I can't imagine what other eminent guests have shown up on the program since my last appearance. I mean,
we had Spectres come here.
Yeah, my dead wife, Jake's hobo brother, Pedro Armendáriz, as grandson. And now you again. Thank you for coming through the front door this time.
Now, I know listeners may be going, have they cycled through all their friends? And yes, we have.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone.
Indeed.
well, yeah, I was asked to come on one more after on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I specifically said, or I don't know if I specifically said this, but I was thinking I did not want to come back to talk about a good one. I wanted to come back for one that, let's be honest, didn't matter. If you know what I'm saying.
All of them?
Speaking of which, we're here to talk about the next James Bond film.
Chronologically.
After Casino Royale.
Canonically.
It's official. We're talking about Epic Movie.
From two of the 6 writers of Scary Movie.
I've had it with these snakes on this damn plane.
This January.
We are the pirates of the Caribbean.
Epic Movie.
Wait, what's the theme music to Epic Movie?
We are the
Fergalicious.
pirates of the Caribbean. So I just want to say, I wanted to do Johnny English, but
no,
it was insisted that it should be Epic Movie because James Bond is in this one, even though he doesn't say anything.
If we did Johnny English, it's a slippery slope to Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I don't know who made this decision.
I love the motion James Bond does in Epic Movie, because it's like, oh, I'm about to shoot you. Wait, let me bow for you. Let me bow for you.
Yeah, let me bow for you. He's just joshing around.
They understand the character.
If you haven't seen Epic Movie, it is 4 orphans, much like James Bond is an orphan. They have exceeded the call to adventure from David Carradine's last scene before he died. And
we're getting into the hero's journey of Epic Movie.
Joseph Campbelling Epic Movie.
Well, Epic Movie is written with the Joseph Campbell monomyth in mind.
I'm sad to say, but yes.
Yes, they did that. They did one smart thing in their life.
No, it's what's so weird about these fucking movies is that they say that it's a parody of like a lot of things, but no, it's usually just a parody of one movie. Mm-hmm. This is a parody of Narnia, and it just has a bunch of random references to other stuff. It's so bizarre.
Which as a 12-year-old, I remember thinking as a 12-year-old, it's like finally a crossover movie. This is it. I love when movies cross over. I wish whole cinematic universes could just cross over.
So you liked it?
I wasn't allowed to say I disliked it the first time I saw it. 3 days later, when I went with my entire family, including my 9-year-old sister, I was informed I was in fact allowed to dislike it.
You grew up a lot in those 3 days in 2007.
Those 3 days taught me the importance of movie criticism, because I realized, I should tell my family not to watch this movie.
Mikey, what is your experience with Epic Movie?
Well, I wrote down what I remembered before I watched it to test myself. Everything I remembered came in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, because that's all the memorable parts, like the snakes on a plane thing.
Yeah.
The Fergalicious Willy Wonka.
That was memorable. Oh my god.
The Da Vinci Code.
Well, the Da Vinci Code I did not remember, and when I watched it the other day, I was like, Oh my God, David Carradine is in this?
Yeah, in a less embarrassing death than his real one.
I know,
Which
it was
was
unfortunate.
possibly. Wait, what was the? Did we figure out the timetable on that one? Was that 2008 he died, or
No, I think he died in like 2010 or something.
Something like that.
11, yeah.
no 2009? All right, epic movie did not kill David Carradine.
This was after Kill Bill. Like, I don't know how they got him.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and he's in the movie for 5 minutes.
Well, like Jennifer Coolidge and Fred Willard, I think the weirdest thing about that one is they have just enough respectable people. It's not like Disaster Movie where I think no one like who's famous is in that. But
Yeah, that one's just impersonators.
Well, they also had Cal Penn, fresh off of Harold and Kumar.
yeah,
They got Esqueleto from Nacho Libre, but not playing Esqueleto from Nacho Libre.
Yeah, now he's Mr. Tubness.
Now he's Mr. Tum. So yeah, I mean, everybody knows that these movies are like the worst thing that Hollywood has ever produced, right?
According to IMDb,
what about Live and Let Die, Jan?
Well, needless to say, as a child, I loved it.
if you've learned anything from listening to this podcast, you may have an idea of what Jake as a child thought of the worst movies that have ever been made. According to
It was amazing. I said it was better than No Country for Old Men, which sucked.
Based.
Why did you see that as a child? What was your frame of reference?
It was boring.
Boring. Nothing.
No, I don't know what you thought about it.
It was boring, and the bad guys won. That made me mad.
That's not supposed to happen. Yeah.
You know when the bad guys win an epic movie? Okay, I have 2 jokes for this. All right.
No, it's when you bought your ticket. Okay.
Yeah, the bad guys win an epic movie when you bought your ticket. But my other thing is, you know what happens when the bad guys win an epic movie is you get out the click remote and you rewind, and then a woman will run, and then you rewind back again, but then a fat man will run, and then you've messed up the click remote. That's the climax epic movie. When he has his little chicken wings.
What?
How's that the bad guys winning?
The hero's journey.
And you know what's even better is that everybody dies at the end because Jack Sparrow crushes them all with the wheel, and Borat shows
and
up.
Borat slaps his ass, yeah.
Oh yeah, and Borat's in it, because he's an epic movie character.
My
Yes.
favorite of the epics of the mid-2000s, Borat.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Shamas, you make a movie film have happy ending? Not.
Then I woke up.
But guys, it has to be said that Darko Belgrade James Bond might be the most faithful to Ian Fleming's conception of Bond, because you see Bond, but you don't hear him. And when I read one of Ian Fleming's books, I'm not reading it aloud. I'm reading it quietly. So I'm seeing the words, but I'm not hearing it. So I really like this style.
He has the same level of mystery as Daniel Craig.
Fleming famously did write him as a mute. Yes.
And Darko Belgrade has a long career. You can look at his IMDb page.
So
He
that's
has
the
been in-
actor's name?
Yeah, his name is Darko Belgrade.
And he's in such movies like Epic Movie
Epic movie.
and Epic Movie
Epic movie.
and, wait for this, Epic Movie.
Epic movie. Whoa.
Is he from Mad TV or something?
No, he's just an epic movie.
He's just a guy?
He's just a guy named Darko Belgrade.
Did they just find a guy with like a Fleming-esque, like an actual Fleming character in real life?
I think he was like part of their frat or something, because of course these guys, they're called Friedberg and Seltzer, right?
You can't convince me. These movies have to have been shot in like some Eastern European countryside.
So he was just like some guy who lived in a village, and
Yeah,
then they just were like, "You,
Maybe,
you look
yeah.
like Daniel Craig." It's like the scene from Ed Wood where he sees the chiropractor, and he's just like, "By God, it's
Yeah.
Daniel Craig."
And he's like, yes, let me give you shoe shine. And they're like, no, just stand there. Don't say anything.
Here's a
and
gun. What do I do with gun?
What do I shoe shine the gun? No shoe shine. No shoe shine. Just stand there.
And that's when Darko Belgrade learned about the long career in show business that would turn him into Volodymyr Zelensky. But he does kind of look like Zelensky.
This is the origin story.
The origin
Haircut
story
changed
of
his name and became the Ukrainian voice of Paddington.
I mean, they call Putin a war criminal criminal, but this movie is like the worst war crime I've ever seen. I want to get through this really quickly.
No, I don't.
It's not that bad.
Come on.
There's some good bits, like the stunt doubles, the recurring stunt doubles bit.
That's a
good.
bit that's like 80 years old.
I don't care.
It is funny.
I will not have epic movie defense on this respectable podcast.
But Carmen Electra gets fat at one point.
Dude, okay,
God.
her in the hallway for some reason at school, doing like the stripper dance. Like, after it happened, I was like,
you masturbated?
No. I was just like, this is such a stupid small bit, but like I loved it because like I guess it's like making fun of the like, oh, they're looking at their crush in the hallway scene, but she's like literally naked. And
okay, I had a different experience with this movie because when I was a kid, the worst movie that I had ever seen in my life was the 1967 Casino Royale.
At Casino Royale,
until it was dethroned in 2007 by Epic Movie. So we've covered my 2 least favorite movies of all time on this podcast. So thank you guys.
Yeah, and then Jake.
Yes.
Just to prove I don't know if it even needs proving. Child you thought Epic Movie was great and Casino Royale 1967 was bad.
Paul cannot comprehend.
Well, the thing about 1967 Casino Royale, I watched it, but I didn't have an opinion on it because I could never finish it because it was like 2.5 hours long. So it didn't take me until after I watched Epic Movie to like actually watch the entire thing.
And you were like, I think there's a way in. I can appreciate the art of the spoof.
Yeah, it was like watching Tenet again in theaters last night. It was just like, 6 times.
Oh my god,
charm.
another turd.
Another turd. Paul, will you concede though that unlike Casino Royale, Epic Movie has main characters and a linear plot?
No, it doesn't.
Troy, do not dare say that this movie's better than Casino Royale.
It's not, but it does work like a movie more than Casino Royale. If Seltzer and Friedberg were literally Orson Welles, Billy Wilder, John Huston, and Woody Allen, Casino Royale would be Epic Movie. Casino Royale is if you got talented people to make Epic Movie and you didn't just like dress Fred Willard up in a pelt and have him sit down in all his scenes.
Or laying in a bed.
Yes, look, all I'm saying is if Mr. Tumnus was talking about a heirloom, you might have a conversation.
Are you saying if someone dressed up like Hitler, it would go up a couple notches?
I didn't say, I did not.
It cannot be any more offensive.
We hear what you're saying, Paul. We hear what you're saying, but Mikey was going to say something.
I forgot what I was replying to, but Troy was saying something about Casino Royale being better than Epic Movie or something like that.
You disagree.
And all I wanted to say was, but bro, did they have a piss cam? A piss screen?
Oh yeah, the piss cam. Oh yeah, where Mr. Tumnus is peeing in his crib.
You ain't a true player unless you got flat screens everywhere. In the toilet, when I'm taking a leak. Say hello to my little friend. You wanna play us? Okay.
Like 240p?
It's like a recording of himself as Scarface.
That was my biggest laugh of Epic Movie, and unfortunately it came in the first 20 minutes.
And it's almost like accidental because of how incompetent it is.
I will say this for Epic Movie, the first time I ever made a girl I had a crush on laugh was quoting the Superman scene from Epic Movie where he got shot in the eye and him going, "Oh, my eye!
Oh my god, you shot my eye! Why would you do that?"
That's very, very heartwarming.
Troy's like, the first time I made a girl orgasm was when I leaned into her ear and said, let's watch my Epic Movie DVD. And you know what? That girl was me.
Oh no.
And you said, check out my Tumnus crib.
Check out my crib.
Welcome to my farm crib.
It is really a time capsule of the 2000s. Watching it a few weeks ago, I had nothing but a blank expression on my face for 98% of the movie. And it's not really, I was offended by it. It's like entering like a dreamscape of like what 2007 was like. I'm like, oh my God, I remember MTV Cribs.
It's so weird that, like, what Paul mentioned earlier in the group chat, that, like, they're mostly parodying comedies that were, and they're not even parodying them. They're just replicating them. Like, let's get some fucking discount, like, dollar store Borat to say movie film and then slap his ass. It's like horrible. Like,
that's really funny.
No, it's not.
But I remember it.
Remember when he said he's had enough of these motherfucking snakes? Well, we can't say motherfucking, but we'll just replicate everything else about it.
I've had it with these goddamn snakes on this goddamn plane.
But then we'll say motherfucking in the unrated DVD that we will release at Target.
I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
Sell it for $25 a pop.
Yeah.
We were saying earlier how I love Die Another Day because it feels like it's written by a 12-year-old in the best way possible. Epic Movie feels written by a 12-year-old in the worst way possible.
I really feel there's not a huge gap there.
No, because Die Another Day is like, what if Pierce Brosnan served a tsunami? That's awesome.
Awful.
Awesome. This is like...
Mikey is seething with rage right now. He's like, hey.
Mikey,
Yeah,
please tell me you are a reasonable man when it comes to
I am
Die
reasonable because
Okay, thank you.
I gave Epic Movie. I mean, I guess I don't. Maybe we should get into final scores soon, but I did not rate it highly because the last 80% was dog shit for sure. Like,
but the first 20% is fantastic. I agree.
It's not fantastic. It's like a little bit chuckle worthy. But when they brought out the Lazy Sunday bit, I just thought to myself, I mean, of course, I knew what Lazy Sunday was, but I was telling my wife about it. Like, they just parodied Lazy Sunday, and she's like, "What's Lazy Sunday?" I'm like, "Wow!" Like, if you were in the age range of 12 to 30 in 2006, like, you know what Lazy Sunday is.
That's wild. I'm still in that age range anyway.
But if you're outside of that age range at that time, you have no fucking idea what it is. And so the bit just, and it's not even funny. I don't know where I'm going with that.
I don't think I know what it is, but
We are the pirates of the Caribbean.
I really questioned my life with this one because me and my dead wife were supposed to go on a date night, and I was like, no, I need to watch this. So the night just ended up with her like sleeping next to me and me silently watching Epic Movie on my iPad while I smoked.
Was she dead at this point?
Yeah, this is her ghost, yeah.
the ghost was taking a nap, yes.
Yeah, should we just give final ratings? We're like 20 minutes in.
Well, wait, what do we got to rate about Darko?
So
10 out of 10.
Darko Belgrade, just in terms of looks, I think is a pretty solid James Bond.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 for Darko's Bond, and also a solid 9 out of 10 for his hair. I actually think they figured out his hair better than they did in Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, no, they actually did a good job with the hair.
If Dominic Green had a stylist in Quantum of Solace, he would look like Darko Belgrade in Epic.
But yes, so I'll just give my rating for the movie because I want to be done with this. So this movie, this is like, these are the worst fucking guys ever. Fried Belgans are just the laziest, unfunniest motherfuckers in the world. It's such horrible, like, freshman frat humor. Like, the things that they find funny are reference and racism and sexism and let's make Jack Sparrow say come and stuff like that. It's horrible. I don't like it. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. These movies are a fucking crime. 0 out of 10. I hate them. I hate them so much.
Wow. That's the most sincere you've ever been, Chad.
I don't have a bid for this. What am I going to be like? Epic Movie is actually no.
It's actually a secret masterpiece.
No, it doesn't deserve the bid.
All right, I'll go next. Epic Movie is actually a secret masterpiece.
Fuck you!
Look at the 21st century. When you look at the 21st century, the monomyth of Hollywood, the hero's journey, if you will, became diffused across many other properties in the cinematic universes, in the world building, in our multimedia meta world that we live in now. Epic Movie captures that by taking the 4 protagonists of The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and transports them across every movie that came out in 2005 and 2006. Actually, scratch that, only 2006.
Troy, you make me feel like I've entered like some obscure like film essay review channel.
You sound like Jake
words.
reviewing A View to a Kill.
Yes. So anyway.
And you're not even drunk.
Crispin Clover attempts a performance in a turn some describe as shocking but accurate, while Jennifer Coolidge and Fred Willard wish they could be in many other things. I think epic movie, perhaps not the worst of its kind, but truly a garbage piece of crap that is I regret seeing twice in theaters. 1 out of 10. It's not a 0 out of 10 because I finished twice. So I guess I gotta give
you
it 1
finished
out of 10
twice during
for that.
epic movie?
Yes.
During what? Carmen Electra or?
No, it was actually the Beaver.
My name is Harry Beaver.
No.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I did too.
The Beaver and Mr. Tubness, yeah, very sexy.
I missed you, Harry Beaver.
Oh, I forgot to mention, they also think that rap music is like the funniest thing ever.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, it does come from that point in time where rap music was just still like a novelty, which is weird to think about now. But
like, wouldn't it be hilarious if Jack Sparrow said booty, booty, booty?
Mike's about to drop a red hot take.
I was just about to say, to be fair, Miss New Booty is funny. And it remains funny to this day.
Did you direct this movie, Mikey? Are you?
Is your full name Mikey Seltzer Friedberg?
Booty, 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 booty,
Mikey
rockin'
Seltzer.
everywhere. Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere.
Oh wait, Darko Belgrade's hair. It's slicked back, it's flat, it doesn't have a lot of volume, but he looks more like James Bond than Daniel Craig does. 7 out of 10.
Very nice.
Good Lord.
Mikey.
So first of all, the movie, I gave it a 1.5 on Letterboxd.
Oh my God.
That's basically a 9 out of 10 for this.
Because I couldn't lie to myself. I'm like, I definitely laughed a few times. Maybe I'm not proud of it, but I did laugh a few times.
I appreciate the honesty.
Darko Belgrade, first of all, name 10 out of 10 for
Yeah.
a random extra that never appeared in another movie. Okay, unlike you guys, I saw James Bond in it, and I was like, oh, I guess this is why we're talking about it. I rewound once and then never looked back. So all I remember is like that he kind of looked like Daniel Craig. So I'm gonna give his first of all, the swagger, the kind of skullduggery of like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you. Just kidding. I bow to the orphan kings and queens. The Bond, 8 out of 10. And the hair, I can't remember out of 10.
But it leaves an impression, definitely.
It does.
Oh, yes. And Paul, because you're so versed in.
I'm so versed. I did not make it far enough to see. Unless I missed him.
You
but
didn't.
I don't think I made it that far. This was an extended prank that Janice let us down.
No, I suggested this. He suggested Johnny English.
Yes.
See what happens when you don't listen to me?
What I saw from my TV from sitting here just a few minutes ago seemed mostly boring.
Yes.
So, yeah, no good. Can we move on, please?
Jake?
Oh, as a child, I thought this humor was masterful, from The Things I Know to the booty, booty, booty rocking everywhere to the Willy Wonka. I was entranced. I was enthralled. It was everything to me. Watching it again now, I felt like I stepped into a Twilight Zone. And I was looking at what middle school was like, and it was like this void of not really pain, but more so just like, oh yeah, I remember
Emptiness.
when the world was like the emptiness. It was complete.
You stared at the void and the void stared back at you.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. So I just kind of felt nothing. I can't call it the worst movie ever because there's also Disaster Movie and Meet the Spartans, which are far worse somehow.
They're all the same.
They're all the same, but like certain ones are more painful. This one was just like, this is like 3 hours mentally that I will never get back.
Even though the movie's only 85 minutes.
Exactly. So I'm going to have to give this like a half star. And Darko Belgrade, I have to say, he looks like Bond. He does well in his 5 seconds of screen time. And I give him That's 6.
Yeah, well, these aren't even directors. They're like scam artists. Like, I could only find one interview with them, and they're like very monotone voice. They're like making jokes during the interview, like trying to make each other laugh, but no one's laughing. They don't have passion for anything. They're like weird social climbers, you know?
They're weird sellouts.
Yeah, they're weird sellouts,
Wait,
and I hate them. What?
Oh, they did not attend film school at the University of California, Santa Barbara.
No, I think one of them studied like philosophy or history or something.
Majored in art history and Friedberg in history, but decided to try a career in the film industry after attending a class about Martin Scorsese in their last semester.
One of them is like a Nepo baby, no? Like, one of them, like, their dad is the guy that made Spy Hard.
No.
They wrote Spy Hard.
Yeah, but one of them has a dad that's like a famous director.
No, their dad directed a 33-minute golf video called Bad Golf Made Easier, starring Leslie Nielsen, where he gave him the script to Spy Hard, and Leslie Nielsen was like, these are my dudes.
Well, maybe saying famous director was a stretch, but you know what I
mean. He directed a golf VHS from the 90s, and that's it.
Their last movie they're working on is Star Wars Episode 34 equals MC Squared, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi Who Went Rogue, which was supposed to film in late 2017.
No, that's
not real, right?
That's been in development since 2015 but
yeah,
it hopefully will never come out.
No,
it has a better chance of coming out than another Star Wars movie at this
That's
point.
true, and we'll have to review it.
Yes. Anyway, goodbye, folks. See you next week.
Yeah, goodbye, folks. Thanks for coming on, Mikey.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
I fucking hate this podcast. I can't fucking stand why I'm doing this.
I'm just gonna crack open a pack of cigarettes.
Bro, can I get another beer? Like, I'm kind of
This is horrible, man. I don't like this job.
Oh shit! Wait.
We're still recording. Shit.
No! Don't stop recording.
Wait, Jake, are you good to drive again?
Fuck. We got to talk about Quantum of Solace.
No! Bro, I only agreed to 25 minutes.
Damn it. Well, Mikey, just push back your appointment, your doctor's appointment. I know that lump has been scaring you for a while, but I'm sure it won't kill you in the next 3 hours.
But I don't remember Quantum of Solace. I don't remember anything about it.
Guys, we didn't write anything for Quantum of Solace. We always have scripts ready to go with these episodes, and we have nothing for this.
God, Producer Paul, this is all your fault.
Our team of staff writers may have slacked off on this one. Actually, you know what happened is that our writers that come up with all of our opinions were on strike.
No!
Oh,
or
no.
Maybe that's good. I don't know.
So we're just going to have to come up with this on the fly? I guess we'll look at our episode for Casino Royale and pick up the pieces from there. I guess Paul Haggis turned in something.
Listeners, Jake right now is just like frantically writing the script on his Sony Vaio, like desperately trying to get it out.
I'm drinking a Heineken. I have my Omega watch on me. I'm wearing Tom Ford. Okay, I think we got it. Let's talk about Quantum of Solace.
All right, so tell us, Jake, how this disaster came to be.
Well, they actually announced Quantum of Solace before Casino Royale even came out. Not the title. They're just like, we're working on another Bond film, and it's happening. And they had a director. And that director was Roger Mitchell, the guy who did Notting Hill.
Oh, cool.
He was going to direct it. And then after a few months, he was like, no, I'm not going to direct this because the script took too long to develop.
Uh-oh.
Whoops. So he left, and they were just like, all right, let's figure out a director. The guy who did Finding Neverland, you do it. Even though he's never directed an action movie. He is not a Bond fan.
He was prolific in the 2000s, yeah.
As we'll later learn with the Daniel Craig Bond films, the Daniel Craig movies are just like Eon Productions' quest for legitimacy, artistic legitimacy.
You could never tell that he was not experienced with action. The action in this is so good.
Oh yeah, it's the greatest action ever.
Whoa! You're telling me that you, in a filmography that includes The Kite Runner and Christopher Robin and Finding Neverland, you didn't get a little lump in your throat when Eeyore had to race the streets of London and Christopher Robin to invent the idea of paid vacation?
When did that happen in Quantum of Solace?
Oh, no, I watched Christopher Robin.
Oh, okay.
Another Mark Forster.
Oh, yeah, they're very similar films.
Yeah, we all remember the bit where Moneypenny is sitting on a bench and turns around and says, "James," and there's a little guy there.
But no, this is a serious Bond movie. We don't have time for Moneypenny or Q. This is a direct sequel to Casino Royale. God damn it.
Or so it ended up that way.
Well, they were trying to figure out the script. They wanted it to be somewhat of a continuation of Casino Royale, but I guess not that much, because apparently a little something happened in 2007. The fucking writer's strike happened, and Paul Haggis turned in his rewritten script of Neil Purvis and Robert Wade's earlier script at the 11th hour before the strike started. So the script wasn't finished, and they just kind of had to write on the fly. Mark Forster
could
and
never tell.
Daniel Craig. And you can never tell. It's seamless. It's seamless. You have a director who is a fine, okay director with actors and does mostly prestige drama films, never done an action movie, and no script, and what could possibly go wrong?
Was this the first time that they got like a prestige, like award-winning director for
Michael Apted?
Yeah, Michael Apted.
Yeah, but he was known for like documentaries for like 80-year-olds.
And The Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yeah.
That's not a real movie.
Yeah, well, this is the time they're trying to get interesting people to spice up the Bond formula.
Well, yeah, I was looking this up. Well, we'll get into this. I watched this movie today for the first time.
Whoa!
I was kind of impressed that, in the Barbara Broccoli era, they've opened it up to more of these outsider directors. But
yeah, not
only did Mark apparently take this over fairly late in the game, but it's pretty much all his people, you know?
Yeah, it's his DP.
Well, this is interesting too, which makes sense. His editor, but a second editor that had, I think, maybe even been nominated for an Oscar for United 93, a Paul Greengrass film.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
The shaky cam is strong with this one.
Yes, there's lots and lots and lots. A shaky cam.
Some might say too much.
No,
just a bit.
No one's ever said that.
Roger Moore apparently saw this movie and he's like, I didn't like it. It was like a commercial for the action. I didn't know the geography of the space. It had no
it's
geography.
Hilarious that Roger Moore, just like Die Another Day, he's just weighing in. He's got hot takes about everything. If he was on Letterboxd,
Roger Moore would have been great on that.
Did he have a podcast?
We can dig him up and get him.
I actually have the quote that he said about Quantum of Solace. He's like, I thought Casino Royale was better. It was just like a commercial of action. There didn't seem to be any geography, and you were wondering what the hell was going on. But there you are. Call me old-fashioned and old fuddy-duddy.
Okay, well, no geography. Last I checked, there was quite a bit of globetrotting in this film.
Yeah, and they give you very nice fonts for each place you go to.
But all different fonts, some of which are very hard to read.
I appreciated the fonts. The fonts were nice.
Yeah, I like them too.
I like it when the fonts are big white letters that you put across the entire screen and you're just like, Berlin!
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Arial font. Impact font.
Helvetica.
Paul's obsessed with Captain America Civil War and its use of fonts to tell you where you are that cover the entire screen.
It changed everything.
But yeah, something unprecedented is that this movie's like an hour and a half.
Yes.
Well, they legally couldn't write it to be any longer.
Which is like, on one hand, hell yes.
On one hand, that is the average length of a movie in most eras of Hollywood.
On the other hand, the script definitely demanded a little more.
Yes.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I think about this a lot, and I always think about when I watch Quantum of Solace, where it's like, yeah, a disposable, fun action movie should only be 95 minutes, right? But the way James Bond and other franchises like Star Wars, DC, and Marvel, they don't treat themselves as throwaway. They're always an event, right? They're like, get ready for the next James Bond event. So the way they write these movies requires them to be over 2 hours long. So when they don't have writers and they can't come up with material, it really does feel half done Like, this whole movie does feel like James Bond sneaking around and you don't know where.
Or why.
Or why, because you don't have any scenes where you can just talk to people because they weren't allowed to write any.
It really feels like they used everything in this edit. It was just like, well, there's no way to make it longer because this is all we shot. Because this is all we wrote.
Well, supposedly, I think Mark Forster was quoted saying that he liked it lean.
He wanted it like a bullet, is what he accurately said. He's like, I want this movie to feel fast like a bullet, which is exactly the kind of thing that you would want to do when it's a sequel to Casino Royale and it's about dealing with the fallout of Vesper killing herself at the end of that movie. That's exactly what you want to do.
It does feel like a bullet, but like it accidentally hit like a non-vital organ and you're just dying by bleeding out slowly and painfully.
Almost like it hit Superman in the eye.
Oh my God, you shot my guy! Why would you do that?
Yeah, like the bullet hit Superman in the eye. I was going to say, it feels like a bullet because it's boring into you. Because it's boring.
Of all these ways to die, I wish there was another way to die.
Oh, I would love another way to die.
I do like that song too.
I do like
That's
that
the best
song.
part of the movie.
Okay, we'll get to it. We got to talk about the opening first because this is probably like the most studied opening action scene in a movie in recent years.
Okay.
What?
Calm down.
No, well, not because of how good it is, but because it is the worst shot and edited action scene I have ever seen in a motion picture.
It's disorienting.
You don't know what's happening, why it's happening, who's chasing who, what the fuck is going on. Horrible. Horrible.
Like, you want at least to have like some sort of clarity as to where everybody is, who are the bad guys, what are the stakes, what are the gags, what are the beats that are happening in the scene. But everything is so fucking quick. Like, if you watch it in like 10 times slow-mo, you pick up the beats. But if you're watching it like how most humans will watch it in normal speed, you're missing like, because there are beats in the scene. Like, they shoot at Bond, they shoot at a truck, the truck crashes, and then a piece of the truck stabs into the car, and it all happens within the span of like 1.5 seconds.
Wait, Jake. We first need to mention, this is something that drove my 12-year-old ass crazy. I'm sure it drove your 13-year-old ass crazy.
Oh,
no gun barrel.
No gun barrel.
No gun barrel, because this is a direct sequel.
Why?
This is a direct sequel to Casino Royale. We need to see Bond driving Mr. Green to wherever he's going.
Mr. White.
No, but Casino Royale was the origin of the gun barrel.
Yes.
Now we should have it.
Again, it's interesting, right? Because, well, really down the whole line, but especially in these first three movies. Yes, they're in conversation with Bourne, but the Craig era is like obsessed with the Nolan Batman movie.
With porn?
That too. But Nolan.
What?
Bourne. Jason Bourne.
Oh,
Bourne
Jason
Identity.
Bourne. Okay.
Because that's the same thing with The Dark Knight, right? Is The Dark Knight was the extended origin story too. So there was this idea that, people like that the first one was an origin story. So we have to keep on making it an origin story, even though it doesn't make sense in the context of the film for it to be an origin story anymore.
Well, like, the whole point of Casino Royale is he's James Bond now and he's going to do the thing.
Exactly.
But then they're just like, but no, he needs to learn from the ending of Casino Royale.
What?
A lesson or something.
I mean, I don't mind in theory that they try to make this like him going in a revenge quest and like trying to get over Vesper through revenge, but it's like it's so horribly half-baked, so poorly executed.
We'll get into that because I have some thoughts about this. For the past 2 days, I've been watching people who love this movie and have loved it so much that they make hour-long video essays on why it's good.
Those bros are just making content. They're not actually speaking from the heart.
They're just here for your ad money, bro.
I could say that 2 of them were actually speaking from the heart. One of them, I think, is still wrong. Actually, no, both of them are like, no. Like, most of the videos about this, I'm just like, but you're failing to consider how is the movie presented.
Execution is everything.
Yeah, execution is everything. Like on paper,
I watched the same video, those videos you sent me, Jake, and it's the classic case of like when people say like the Star Wars prequels are good. It's like, oh, but the ideas behind it, I'm like, that don't matter. Like
it's the execution.
Like, yeah, like ideas. Anyone can. Your fucking Aunt Bertha can give you a good idea. All that matters is the execution.
How dare you drag the iconic Star Wars prequels with memorable characters and ideas and action set pieces into a discussion about Quantum of Solace? How dare you, sir?
I will say I'd rather watch Phantom Menace any day of the week than Quantum of Solace.
I take Phantom Menace over Thunderbolt.
Mikey, Quantum of Solace or Phantom Menace?
Obviously Phantom Menace.
Who would say otherwise?
Not even a question.
For sure.
So we get the first action scene. Already you're just like,
horrible.
I have no idea what's going on. And I think I was reading something that the editor wrote going like, I wanted it to be like you're inside the action, that like every cut is impactful. But the thing is that when you have this action scene, you have a cut every like half a frame. Starts to, you get like so detached from what is happening because you're not able to comprehend what is happening. It's just like, why is he going here? Well, that's already like, I don't know what's happening, but like the obstacles that are in the way or how many guys there are. It's just like, but I want to know how many of them are there. I don't want to feel like I'm having like an epileptic seizure.
A seizure, right. No, and like this is literally the worst case scenario of what Casino Royale could have been, of just like looking at the Bourne movies and taking all the wrong lessons from them.
Casino Royale is shot handheld at times and has quick cuts, but we still see what is happening. We have a sense of like place. We have
there's
a sense
gags,
of
there's beats,
what the gags
progression.
are. Yeah, what's the beats? In this, it's like Mark Forster is so unprepared to shoot action scenes that he just said, fuck it, let's just get coverage. Let the second unit worry about it. I'm not going to tell them what to shoot. And then I'm just going to give like 200 hours of footage to my editor. And he's just going to go like, I don't know what to do with it. This isn't shot correctly.
No, this is one of those movies that's it's kind of enraging if you've ever been in production, because this is the classic, like, I have $200 million. Let's just destroy a bunch of shit and shoot it with 10 simultaneous cameras. And then let's just figure it out. And it's like, no, bad.
I genuinely feel this movie might have killed the Paul Greengrass, like shaky cam close-up fighting, because it was everywhere before this movie. Like, I remember Batman Begins coming under fire for the fight scenes are a little too shaky. I couldn't see what's going on. But after Quantum of Solace, everyone was like, back that camera up. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of controversial, if we do remember at this point in the late 2000s, you know, to have it be this crazy. Of course, I think for most people, including myself, consider like the high water mark of how good it could be, Bourne Ultimatum, which I think was the year before this.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
there are multiple kind of one-to-one, like when he fights the guy in Haiti in the hotel room.
Oh yeah,
right.
Like you could do a film school side by side with those two scenes.
Just like, why does this work? Why does this not?
That style became popular not because it was good, but because it was cheap and quick to shoot, which is why when we got Skyfall, it felt like even The Dark Knight, you know, wide open action sequences happening in long takes. It felt like such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And ironically, you know, in the case of The Dark Knight, which was super influential, but not necessarily a stylistic break on its own, but the sense of people being like, well, business reasons again. It's cheaper to shoot quick, frenetic action, but you can charge higher ticket prices if it's in IMAX, and the camera needs to be steady.
So what we need to do is shoot quick, frenetic IMAX action. Ah!
Oh no! And then we get Zack Snyder movies.
Yes, and Zack Snyder is the direct birth of now slowing everything down. Far away.
Jay, cut this out. We don't want the Snyder bros coming after us.
But they're already here for Epic Movie. Epic Movie was the first Zack Snyder movie.
The Snyder Bros love Epic Movie. Everyone knows that.
To be totally honest, I kind of think that like Quantum of Solace fans and Snyder Bros are kind of the same.
Well, yeah, guys that be like, no, you didn't like it because you didn't understand the themes. I'm like, no, I understand
the themes.
Yeah, I understand the themes. They're just horribly executed.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my God, watching these videos. I did watch one that was pretty good. That was actually going like, okay, you can kind of see where they're trying to go. The problem is, it's that they completely fucked up while filming. It's like, there are beats there that they shot, except they're not communicated effectively because it is edited like crap.
Do you remember back in 2008 when both because this came out in 2008, right? Same year as The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Because I remember at the time, people, like when Batman Begins at Casino Royale, and people were like, what's a reboot? There was some people who was like, I don't know which one's better. And then 2008 happened, and everyone kind of forgot about the Craig films for a bit.
Yeah.
This movie was so embarrassing. Yeah.
Well, the thing, it's funny because Quantum of Solace still made a ton of money. Like, it's still like the 4th highest grossing Bond film.
I remember at the time, it didn't receive horrible reviews. It received like, it wasn't as good as Casino Royale, but it was pretty good, I guess.
Roger Ebert gave it like 2 out of 4, and he put, never let them do this to James Bond again. He'll be fine. They'll make another one, but he'll be fine. He's coming back, but never let them. He is not an action hero. Stop putting Jason Bourne in my James Bond. He is about
putting
smoking.
action in James Bond movies.
I hate to break it to you, Roger Ebert. He is an action hero, but but usually they're very classy and well put together, and you can see what the hell is happening because it's about spectacle.
Like A View to a Kill.
Why'd you say that, Jake?
As much as that movie has its faults, you can see what's happening.
Can you?
Do I want to see what's happening?
Mostly. Anyway, so
this ends with him opening a trunk, Tarantino style. Mr. White is there.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mr. White, time to get out, or something like that.
It's time to get out.
And then we get a freeze frame.
Horrible transition to the opening.
Okay, the weird part is they do that, and then they kind of do a quasi gun barrel, I noticed this time, where it's like a silhouette of James Bond going to shoot. And like, here's the thing, if they really were uncomfortable with the gun barrel and they wanted to do something new with it, they could have just ripped off Casino Royale and had every single pre-opening title sequence end in the gun barrel, and maybe that could have been fun.
Maybe, but I will still say that this opening sequence gets a bad rep. I think it's by far the best thing in the movie. I think the music's awesome and the visuals are great.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes.
Wait,
Okay,
the title
Jan,
sequence? Is that what we're talking about now?
Jan, join my army. I'm here. First it was Epic Movie, now it's Another Way to Die.
Yes, Team Mikey. I'm all in.
Wait, guys, can I get on the Another Way to Die?
Mikey wanted to be on this episode because he's just like, well, Another Way to Die. I think there's some good things in it.
Song fucking slaps.
It does.
Good luck, dude.
That is so close to being on my top 10 favorite Bond songs.
Same.
I love Another Way to Die.
Actually, I don't completely say fuck this song. I think this song, I mean, I like the beginning.
I have my ranking of the James Bond title
songs.
I
think it's one of the worst ones, but
what?
But you don't get it. Jake loves
it's
them
so
all.
Cool.
No, that's the worst part. That's like.
No, come on. I was on your team, Mikey.
Break it down, Mikey. Break it down.
Break it down.
Here, this is why I came on.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, the only lore I can drop, and I don't even know if this is true or just an urban legend, but like, I'm pretty sure Jack White, when he wrote the riff for Seven Nation Army, he was like, I'm going to save that just in case I ever have to do a Bond movie. And then he thought for like 3 more seconds, and he's like, nah, they're never going to ask me to do a Bond movie. I'm just going to make that song anyway. So he made Seven Nation Army, which is him doing a pastiche of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Don't At Me or At Me.
No, he said that. He said he's a big fan of OHMSS.
So then you know, now he's got to make Another Way to Die. Okay, so I don't know anything else about the making of this song.
Well, Shirley Bassey had a song all ready to go, There's No Good in Goodbye or something, which does sound like a more traditional Bond song.
For this one? For this movie?
Yeah, for this one. It was recorded and all ready to go. You can find it on
Do we have another Surrender?
It's good. It's better. It's more respectable, but it's not as memorable as Another Kitchen Slipping March is going to get for the government.
I want to let it pump it. I want to walk it by.
Taking oil and water Jack White and Alicia Keys. It's like, I don't have a problem with the music by itself. It's basically just like another riff on You Know My Name.
And what the fuck? You're like...
The main core thing, like the da-na-na-na-na-na-na, is just like a different version of You Know My Name.
Yep.
But then you get the vocals. And I'm sorry, the vocals are so just bad.
They are obnoxious, but that doesn't mean they're bad.
Alicia Keys and Jack White are fine singers on their own. Together, it is worse than hearing cat claws on a chalkboard. It is deafening.
Don't take the pedestrian YouTuber.
I'm sorry, but it's true. This is where the YouTubers are right. This song's like the vocals suck.
Only the chorus vocals suck.
You know what I like about this song's vocals? They feel like you're a spy. Like you're mumbling, you're rambling about things that don't make sense.
Now Troy's taking the IGN route. Is that these vocals make you feel like you're getting a bullet to the brain?
No, but this
movie is like a bullet to the brain.
It's not quite You Know My Name where you feel like James Bond. But I do feel when I listen to this song, I feel like I'm in a high-stakes situation. The two different styles are like evading each other like a little cat and mouse game.
Paul, you want to weigh in on this? You're sitting there.
Well, look, I love Jack White and Alicia Keys separately. I guess they did want to work together.
I've never heard you love Alicia Keys.
No, I have my phases on both. Multiple. It's fun. The chorus is a little goofy.
I want a little puppy.
But it's not, I don't know. I mean, it's bold. I mean, even if it was just him by himself, it is kind of a bold sound for a Bond title sequence. I mean, I think
it's a bold sound no matter what. No matter what. If this was released by itself, I would go like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah, it's great. I listen to it in the car.
It makes death metal sound more inviting.
No.
To me, the more controversial aspects is what are these visuals?
Oh no, I love it. I love the visuals.
Well, the visuals are fine. They're kind of weird because it is not Daniel Kleinman this time. It is MK12, which I guess worked with Mark Forster again.
They gave him free reign over this movie. Mark Forster.
They're in the sand because they go to the Bolivian desert. Didn't you get that?
Sand is fine. I don't know about these lines. What's the line?
It's the zoetrope because it's a movie.
I enjoyed the zoetrope. The zoetrope's fun.
What?
Yeah, I like it.
The zoetrope is okay. I didn't mind the zoetrope.
It's distinctive, like the women moving fast around the sun.
Every movie should start with a zoetrope.
And then you have like references to On Her Majesty's Secret Service with like, like the mirrored women like standing on each other going like, but it's all like weird.
Well, maybe that's why I'm not responding to it.
Maybe.
So this intro is a 10 out of 10. We all love it. Okay, let's move on.
Wait. What I like about the zoetrope is it gets me psyched to watch an action movie because it's moving very fast and in circles, and it's a lot of visual stimulation all at once. It is jingling the keys in front of my lizard.
It feels like a bullet.
Exactly.
It's just another way to die, man. One thing I want to get on is while you guys were doing your like film research before,
what
I was digging. I don't do film research.
I did research for Epic Movie, but
I research Epic Movie to the hilt.
Well, I looked into like I was curious because like I think most of us were agreeing that like okay, it's a great song with some bad aspects in the like just the worst place for there to be badness, which is this chorus and the vocals in the chorus, which are mixed shittily in addition to being grating. But I was curious. I looked into cover versions, and like I even found like a German like beer house like horn version.
Was it Gert Fromm?
No, but it was played so straight. It was like the vocalist almost sounded exactly like Alicia Keys.
Oh my god!
But it was just like weird horn, like I don't know. But like when I was listening to these covers, I was like, the chorus melody works. It does. Everything works.
It's a good song.
It's just unfortunately for me, like the version I have downloaded from a perfectly legal streaming service on my phone is the instrumental version. I do own an instrumental.
For you, this song is representative of Quantum of Solace, which is good in concept, flimsy execution.
Yes, which, as you said earlier, is the whole name of the game.
You cannot disagree that this song is the perfect fit for what this movie is.
Much like Daniel Craig and Mark Forster coming up with this on the fly, the song does feel like Jack White kind of like going like, all right, da-dun, da-dun, da-da, da-da, like on the fly. Like he had like one night to prepare it, and then he's like, bum, ba, da, 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 da. Okay, good. Moving on.
Can we pour one out for the last fast-paced James Bond opening title song?
So true. That's why I enjoy this one. I miss this kind of shit.
High energy.
Yeah.
No more low
It's
energy.
nice. It gets you excited to watch an action movie, which is the point.
Especially for this movie.
Where'd it go?
We all got sad in the 2010s.
Well, and then now we are out of the opening. We're in Italy.
In Italy, and this is when I start to get really worried the first time I watch, because it's an interrogation scene, and he's just like randomly intercutting it with like horses racing, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Which I found out they had shot that, I think, in 2007. They had no idea what they were going to use it for, but they had footage of this horse race, and they're
That's
like,
the vibe I got from
we
it.
need to work it in somehow. They shot the rodeo, as Red Letter Media eloquently coined it. They literally did a shoot the rodeo situation, and they're just like, we'll figure out how to use it. And Mark Forster probably was like, well, it's like a chase. Races are like a chase.
Oh my
so
God,
we
what
can
an idiot.
use visual poetry to show horses running and James Bond running, because that's the same. And it totally doesn't throw off the audience at all in an action movie.
I like you, Mark Forster. I think Stay and Finding Neverland are fine movies, but this is what the fuck?
It makes me wonder, what are they gonna do next? Like intercut, I don't know, a gunfight with some random fucking opera?
That would be bad, yeah.
I like that.
You like that? What?
We'll get to the opera house.
One step at a time.
Yeah, no, before the interrogation, M reveals to Bond the identity of Vesper's boyfriend, and that they found his remains at the bottom of the ocean, but then they found out that it's not actually him, and they think that the boyfriend set Vesper up and works for Mr. White's organization.
Perfectly clear.
Perfectly clear.
Perfectly clear for a lady who was established to have been involved with shady people and died of her own will.
No, because at the end of Casino Royale, M says that she had a boyfriend. She did this because her boyfriend was held hostage. And now she realized, oh, that was all part of the thing. But here's the problem. This is like one of the biggest problems with the movie, is that I've watched these different videos where they're going like, this movie is an excellent reminiscence on revenge.
No.
And then there's another guy who was like, this movie, Bond is not out for revenge. And here's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
For the first half of the movie, I have no idea what is motivating Bond. Is it because he's doing his job, or is it because he's trying to get to Vesper's boyfriend? Because it is established that he takes the photograph of Vesper's boyfriend in the beginning and he puts it in his pocket. And then he's very coy with them, going like, you don't have to worry about me. I'm not going to go chasing after him, which we think is a lie.
But then he just is doing his job.
But then he's just doing his job, because we never have like a moment where we figure out like, oh, he's going against protocol. Oh, he's actually doing this instead of what he should be doing. Like, at least in like License to Kill, when he goes rogue, M goes like, you're supposed to be in Istanbul. Why are you going after this drug dealer? And he goes like, fuck you, I'm going after this drug dealer. And there's a clear goal. The movie's not really about the question of, what is it because he's doing his job, or is it because of Vesper? It's not interested in that at all. We have no clue.
No, it's an average Bond movie, but it's up its ass thinking that it's like an elevated Bond movie. So it's just your average affair, but like with none of the fun.
But it really bothers me, because the whole movie is set up to be like Bond's getting revenge. But watching it again, I'm not sure what Dominic Green's quantum plan had to do with Vesper's death at all. It's just like,
I did not remember that motherfucker until I rewatched this movie.
The Diving Bell and the Butterfly?
Yeah, which is a great movie, and Matthew Elmerich is a fantastic actor, but he sucks in this. Like,
I actually, no, give him 10 out of 10 for his scream at the end when he's fighting Bond, where it's like,
oh, I guess that's pretty fine.
Oi, 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 mignon.
All right, so interrogation scene. Kind of going off what Jake said, I think the movie dies for me in this opening interrogation scene, and it cuts back again, to refer back to the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, this is a lot like the issue with The Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight. We talked about how both The Dark Knight and Casino Royale have like differing interpretations on the end, where it's like, oh, is this the guy finally becoming the hero? Or is this the guy going down a path of revenge? And I feel Casino Royale, with M being like, Vesper loved you, James. She did it all for you. And she's solid and we need you back. And he's like, I'm James Bond. But then you go to the beginning of this movie and he's like, I hate everyone. I hate you, M. And M's like, I hate you too. Vesper sucked. She was awful. We don't know what's going on. And I'm just like, what was basically this whole movie is pretending the last two scenes of Casino Royale didn't happen and it ended with the bitches dead. And then they just redo the journey of those last two scenes for 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, this is supposed to be maybe, if not a fully formed James Bond, at least like an evolution, a step forward into that. But like, they just want to recreate Casino Royale. So it's like, this James Bond can't be funny, even though he was funny in Casino Royale. He can't be, he's brooding, he's sad. So let's just do all that shit again, and he can't have all the gadgets.
He's a plank of wood.
He's a plank of wood, and it's just like you learned all the wrong lessons from the last movie.
I feel like there were some funny moments, at least in this opening chase. There was at least one Italian going like, "Hey," with her hands out.
That was a woman getting shot, Mikey.
Well, no, I have that in my notes. Like an innocent bystander gets shot, and then somebody else is like, "Hey."
Which, okay, can we talk about how, like, M gets shot and you're like, oh my god, M died, and then she's in the next scene?
You know what's really funny is I thought the same thing when it came out. I'm like, oh my god, M died in the first 5 minutes. What the fuck is happening? And it wasn't until subsequent rewatching, it's like, oh, the movie was not shot properly and they have to quickly edit it to get around it. And it's also edited badly. So what happens is Mr. White goes like, we have people everywhere.
The first thing you should know about us is that we have people everywhere.
And he signals to Mitch, isn't that right? And he pulls out a gun and he shoots at M, but I think he hits the IV next to M.
Yes.
But it lasts for the total of a half a frame.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh my god, she's dead. And then they get into the chase, but then there's a quick cutaway to a little woman running up the stairs. And it lasts for another frame and a half.
It's so bizarre. Why was M even there? Like, why is she on the field?
Why was it? She called James Bond. She called James Bond from her office in Casino Royale, which was supposed to be earlier that same day. And now suddenly they're all in Italy?
Yes. Mikey, you were saying?
I have a couple things about M getting shot. First of all, you talking about it right now, I did not realize that she did not get hit. My dumbass brain was just like, oh, she is shot. She has been shot. And she's magically okay the next scene.
No, it's not your dumbass brain. That's what we all thought.
Yeah.
No, because it's edited like shit. But like the beats are here's the thing is that like in the script it says bullet hits IV, M gets away. But like in the movie it's just like, and you see like a flash frame of M like running away, but it's there. It's there.
It looks like she falls down, doesn't it?
She falls down, or she backs up at least.
It's a very funny shot. It's Judi Dench like closing her eyes, and like getting out of frame, like lowering, and it's like, what is happening?
I think she's just reacting to the gunshot. I don't even think it's like she like gets hit and falls. I think she's like, ah. But because it's so quick, you think that she fell.
That's not the reaction to a gunshot that someone said. But go ahead, Mikey.
The second thing I thought was, now maybe this is a little bit CinemaSins pilled of me.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch pill?
CinemaSins. Did I say Cinnamon Sins?
Cinnamon Sins.
You can see the flavor on cinnamon.
But like, bro had a gunshot and really wasted it on the frail old woman first when Bond was right there. But I mean,
well, people just hate M in the Craig era. Like, they
she
just
is the
straight
boss.
up just despise that person.
But yeah, I guess this guy did nothing except set Mr. White free.
He blew 8 years of cover. He was in MI6 for 8 years, passed every background check, test, every lie detector test, just to not kill M. Let
he could
one
not
guy
murder
free.
a 90-year-old woman in front of him.
Craig Mitchell worked for me for 8 years. He passed a full security check and lie detector test every year. Didn't need so much as a scrap of paper to explain any of it. 8 years, 5 as my personal bodyguard.
I see MI6 is not, they've not been polygraphs are bullshit pilled yet.
Well, no.
No.
Well, remember in Die Another Day where they're like, how did we not know she was on the same fencing team as the bad guy in college? Like, guys, you don't do any diligence.
And then this is when, again, we get another horribly shot, horribly edited chase sequence that's intercut with horse shit.
And there's like a gunfight going on in the horse crowd, but because the horse stuff was shot earlier, no one's reacting to it. Like gunfire's going off and everyone's like, yay!
Yeah.
Like, what?
No, and apparently, I think they did a little bit of CG crowd populate.
Yes, they did.
Oh, really?
And that's the other problem here is that, like, Mark Forster is big on the CG, and it's very noticeable here, which contrasts very starkly with the, like, raw, you know, like, Bourne-esque kind of action that he's trying to pull off.
Exactly. You're just like, oh, why does that look all smudgy? Oh, it's because those people aren't real.
Even like when the camera is going through like the fucking like roof at the end of the sequence.
Oh, right.
It looks horrible.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
The sequence makes Liam Neeson jumping over a fence in Taken 3 look modest.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I had strong feelings about Liam Neeson jumping over a fence in Taken 3.
It's a meme. It has like 17 cuts.
What meme?
Oh, here's another thing. In every single Quantum of Solace video, they always go like, people complain about shaky cam, and they always cut to the Taken 3 scene. And then they usually just go like, it's a taste thing. And I'm like, no, this is bad. This is
it's
bad.
It's a competence thing. Like we said, Paul Greengrass did it, but he did it well.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What do you mean it's a taste thing? You can say that about anything.
So basically what I'm trying to say to the Quantum of Solace is good, actually, folks. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are crazy.
Please don't turn it off. No, don't go.
No, turn it off. Fuck you. I don't care. Fuck off.
Easy.
Oh, I will give it this. The chase when they go through like the art museum through the glass. The CG stuff. That's actually a fun scene. It could have been edited a little bit better. But like that was like the closest part where I'm like, oh, you can actually see the beats where it's like
the
you see the things
is falling on him, right?
Yeah, the glass is falling. You see that there's a pulley that they're on, so like whenever the weight shifts, you see them go up, and you see why they're going up. And then Bond is trying to get his gun, and that's like the focus point of the end point of the scene, so he can get the gun, but he can't get the gun because he keeps moving around. And there's actual focus on that. I'm like, I'll give you that. You tried here a little bit. It's not done particularly well, but you tried a little bit.
Well, I felt like, I guess, my take on the action is, I mean, I don't know. I guess I was somewhat engaged at least, but it almost has like the opposite problem of what we talked about with Live and Let Die, where it's like, in that case, there are very impressive like stunts happening, but you're just like, you're so removed and like, there's nothing cinematic about it. And this is like the complete other end of the spectrum where, you can barely take in. And also it's like even amped up by the fact that scene or the bit where like his car gets like railed through it, like in the earlier are quite wacky, like kind of cartoony, right?
But you can't notice
but
that.
you can't take in anything. Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's cool moments like at the end of the gunfight, a shot of him like shooting him and leaning back, like that's a cool shot.
So cool.
But because I have no idea where the other guy is, that's the end of the scene, and I'm like, what? Oh, I guess he's dead.
Right.
Yeah, he dead.
Okay, so then we go to Haiti. Yeah.
Well, first they go to MI6 and
where M is just standing there, and I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess she's
weren't you shot?
Bulletproof.
Apparently, they were debating killing M off in this movie and introducing Moneypenny, but they decided against it. Because why would they ever do that?
Skyfall is a good movie. Shut up.
Yeah,
we'll
shut up.
see. It probably is. We'll see how it holds up.
So they track Mitch's money.
I could not follow any of
Okay,
this.
I finally figured out what was happening because this movie came out like, I don't know, what, 15 years ago at this point now?
Oh my God!
16 years ago. I could not follow what was happening until this last rewatch. I'm like, oh, okay,
I still couldn't.
So basically what happened is that they gave Lashif marked bills at some point so they can track his financing stuff. And they found that Mitch had a stack of 20s that was from Lashif's pile, indicating that he was paid with all that money.
Who's Mitch?
Mitchell.
The guy who turned out to be bad.
Oh, the guy that like, he killed earlier?
Yeah. Oh, Mr. White got away, apparently. I don't know where he limped off to.
No,
he got hurt.
Fuck.
We're only like 15 minutes in, folks.
I do just want to give a quick shout out to, I forget what kind of lines you were talking about in the opening song visuals, but the lines, the random bullshit lines on these screen UIs in MI6 were giving me freaking epilepsy. I was like, I don't know what they're smoking.
Yeah, I have no idea how they're able to follow this presentation.
This is yet another one of those conversations that feels like it came out of a dream. It feels like Jean-Claude Carrière wrote them, you know?
Well, isn't like, Jake, I think you're going to explain this. So the whole thing is they gave Lashif marked bills, and maybe one or two marked bills would get circulated, but you want to go where the majority of the marked bills ended up.
Yeah, not a fucking 20 that he used to buy like cigarettes.
Also, is that American? Is that Andrew Jackson money? Or are they just carrying around American money in MI6?
I guess so.
Nothing in this movie is thought out. Nothing.
Yeah. So we get some gobbledygook, and turns out that the money leads to Haiti. So
also, can I say, I think it's part of the thing of like, Bond can't. This is a different Bond. This is not a fun Bond or a funny guy. This is a serious guy. But like Daniel Craig, he's still. I mean, sometimes the good Daniel Craig acting comes out, but for most of it, he's so fucking like nothing. He has nothing to work with.
He had to write the script and act in the movie.
Hey, if Ed Wood could do it in Glen or Glenda.
Well, he wasn't sure what he was supposed to be feeling in any given scene. They weren't sure if they were making a revenge movie or a Bond movie. So,
but he's just standing there, and now, I mean, we'll rank the hair later, but now his hair is horrible. They give him a Beatles haircut.
Yeah, no, his hair's whack.
No, I mean, all the complaints that Craig haters have about him, that like, oh, he's just stone-faced, he's boring. I'm mainly talking about Doug Walker, you know, but like, the complaint that Doug Walker has about Daniel Craig, I feel like, is like just thinking about this movie, because in this movie he's literally just standing there.
Are we saying this movie is our first review where Doug Walker is correct in
Doug
his
Walker
analysis?
is right a good 60% of the time, okay? I'll say it.
Oh man, oh no, you might be right.
I unironically watched his Master of Disguise review not too long ago, and I thought it was good.
I'm still subscribed to him. I've been subscribed to him longer than any other channel since like 2008. So,
which is weird because he wasn't even on YouTube in 2008.
I was a that guy with the glasses.com kind of guy.
Yeah, no,
I also went on that guy with the glasses.com.
Mikey and I were every week we would watch Nostalgia Critic in high school. So
yeah, I remember sitting in front of your mom's computer
when Garbage Pail Kids or something.
Oh my god, Garbage Pail Kids.
That's the cool thing about us, is that most kids our age were looking at porn at their mom's computer, and we were also looking at porn, but it was at that guy with the glasses.
Exactly. We're masturbating, but not to porn.
But not to porn. We're masturbating to Linkara.
Guys, we've said so many shameful things on this podcast. Do not put out that we are aroused by that guy with the glasses.
Well, let me tell you about Power Rangers and oh yeah.
It's a no set schedule.
No set
The videos will come out when they come out, okay? There's no... Okay, but Quantum of Solace.
Batman hates rock and roll.
We're going to find a way to make this 2.5 hours, aren't we?
Well, epic movie. We thought we needed epic movie to pad it out, but much like Quantum of Solace, we find that the padding just makes the experience feel too long.
So he goes to Haiti, and yet another scene that's boring as fuck.
Is this where he kills the guy in the hotel?
Yeah, he kills the guy in the hotel. He learns nothing, but then he gets a briefcase. And then they try to repeat the same thing from Casino Royale where he cleans himself after he brutally kills a guy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work as well because it doesn't mean the same thing. And he picks up a briefcase and he gets picked up by Olga Kurylenko, who is playing a Bolivian
I still have no
woman.
idea who she is or how she figures into this whole plot.
Well, okay, her family was killed by the General Medrano, who
Medrano.
Dominic
Madonna.
Green...
Madonna. General Madonna.
The evil general.
General Madonna.
The evil
I guess
general.
I'll die another day. That's what he's saying after Olga Kurylenko fails to shoot him the first time.
He says, go talk to Sigmund Freud, analyze this.
Analyze this. Analyze this.
The general you're talking about is Joaquin Cosio, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, so he is in league with Dominic Green to overthrow Bolivia. So Dominic Green's company, which apparently is Quantum, can get the water rights in Bolivia and shoot the prices up, and he will be the puppet head. But he also killed her whole family. So she is dating Dominic Green to get close to the general.
And she formerly worked in Bolivian intelligence.
Very interesting. This is yet another Bond movie where like it's woke as fuck, you know? Like the bad guy is literally trying to stage a coup in Bolivia to like rack up oil prices.
Okay, I was thinking about this. So the US government in 2009, they make a movie where the U.S. government is all about stopping the spread of communism in South America and propping up dictators. And I'm like, okay, if it still feels like 20 years out of date. They're like, we don't make movies about communism, right? But then like the war on terror, and we're making a movie about like South American dictator coup.
I mean, they were doing that like actively at the time.
In 2009?
Yeah, in Venezuela, they were trying to
did not coup
That was early
Venezuela.
2000s, I thought.
all throughout Hugo Chavez, but that's another story.
But that doesn't count. Exploding cigars do not count as a policy.
That's just a prank, bro.
It's just a prank, bro. We got Blofeld. He's just running Quantum for his pranks.
Yeah, the only thing that I remember about this fucking villain is he has pudgy eyes. That's, I guess, his villain deformity.
No, he has a weird look. He looks kind of like a frog. No offense to this wonderful man, I assume.
One of the best actors around.
Well, according
we love
to,
him.
again, our reliable source, Wikipedia, he was like, can I have like a deformity? And Mark Forster was like, no, it's about the evil of everyday people.
It's about the evil of man.
He was like, you already look weird.
Yeah. No, honestly, that's probably.
Yeah, well, he was trying to be nice.
He was trying to be nice. You look strange enough.
It's like, we don't want to make you look like Quasimodo.
Yeah. He looks like such a creepy guy to be so publicly like facing like everyone, like throwing all these mixers. Because everyone knows most billionaires look like normal people and not like creepy, weird, pale, slicked back night months.
Not at all. Or like they have backwards legs. Or...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Mark Zuckerberg villain.
If they made this movie today, it would still be Matthew Almeric, but he'd be completely like yokes.
Yeah.
He'd be shredded.
He'd look like Shrek.
Yeah.
He's a big chungus.
He'd look like Big Chungus.
We do have Big Chungus in this movie. David Harbour's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm just imagining this movie, but Matthew Almeric is dressed like Elmer Fudd, and it would be like 10 times better.
And James Bond has to become Big Chungus in order to take him out.
He does kind of have a voice like a French Elmer Fudd, so it would work.
Right, that's why, yeah.
Water rights. Desert rights, water rights. Why is he at the dock?
I guess he's just supposed to meet up with Medrano or something.
Yeah, at the docks. Like, aren't they wealthy, secret people and they're just hanging out at the docks?
Yeah, James Bond's just loitering outside the docks and then...
Oh, excellent reference. So he goes up to the front gate and he's like, hey, the girl that just walked in, Olga Kurylenko, he's like, hey, can you give her my card? And the guy takes the card and it's from Universal Exports.
Yeah.
And the name is S. Sterling. His cover from The Spy Who Loved Me.
My name is Sterling.
Yay, a good movie. A movie where it's fun and he makes jokes and gadgets.
There's a plot I can follow and the action is well shot and everyone's having a great time. Okay, wait, I thought his cover in Spy Who Loved Me was Roger Sterling.
My name is Sterling, Robert Sterling. Robert Sterling.
I thought his cover in The Spy Who Loved Me was just racism.
No, that's Live and Let Die.
All right.
There's another Spy Who Loved Me reference later in the movie when they're wandering in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're dressed as Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, when they're dressed in like the suit and the dress. Yeah.
But anyways, here in this scene, we also get probably the most famous background extra.
Yeah, it's the greatest extra of all time.
Okay, I was looking for this motherfucker and I couldn't find him.
No, I saw him. I saw him.
Wait, who?
Yeah, who?
The guy who's sweeping the floor behind Bond, but he's not touching the ground.
It is like 2 feet off the ground, and he is smiling, and he is like going full force, and it's just not touching the ground at all.
Oh my God, wait, who is it? Wait, who is this?
It's like a guy, he's like to the right of Daniel Craig on the motorcycle.
Jake, I need to send this to you right now so that you can look at it.
This is the greatest achievement Quantum of Solace ever gave to us besides the zoetrope at the beginning.
I've seen the clip so many times outside of the scope of the movie.
But you can never catch it in the movie. I just barely caught him this time.
When I was watching the movie though, I like the environment, the scene, I'm like, oh my God, is this the part with the dude sweeping nothing?
That's kind of amazing. I'm sad that I didn't know about this.
It's very, very funny.
He's so happy. That's the thing. It's like, he's so dedicated. Like, you can't tell if he did it on purpose to sabotage Daniel Craig's close-up.
I think what happened is they probably told him, like, don't do any noise because of sound, even though there's no sound in that specific shot.
Yeah.
But the production was a disaster, so they didn't know when they were going to use sound or not. And he interpreted it as like, oh, I can't even like make sound with the broom. So he's just like sweeping the air.
I could also see him just getting so into it and it's such a quick shot that he doesn't even notice. And like Mark Forster is like, Craig is on in this shot. We have to use this take.
Yeah, but it solidifies this movie as like a weird fever dream to me, where like it kind of makes sense, but it doesn't once you think about it, you know.
It's kind of shocking to think that since this movie, they would take like upwards of like 5 years to make a James Bond movie. To think that so recently there was a James Bond movie where they were like, we have to make it now. We gotta finish it now.
But yeah, then there's, I mean, I don't have much to say what happens next. It's just a boat scene, and it's also very horribly, you know, like.
Well, I like the flirting. I guess what frustrates me about Bond, and I don't remember her name, Olga Kurylenko's character, is like,
Camille.
They have good repartee. Which one?
Camille.
They have good repartee. They bounce off each other well. A two-hander between them on paper should be a great idea. But then the movie doesn't do anything with that dynamic. Like, they're just standing next to each other.
It doesn't do anything with anything, and that's the problem. That's when people say, like, actually, Quantum of Solace is about this. And it's like, okay, just because a movie's about something doesn't automatically make it good.
Right. I need to feel that. I can't just have, like, some idiot YouTuber explain to me what the movie's about because they watched it 5 million times in Adobe Premiere.
Right, but then this movie is literally just like a series of bland sequences, and then sporadically Vesper will be mentioned, and that's supposed to make it like have themes, you know? Like,
I will say that there is one good scene between them, the stuff in the cave.
Well, yeah, that's a great scene. That's what the movie should have been about.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
In another hour.
But most of the time she just pops in and pops out, and then we get more Bond following people. Oh yeah, I didn't even pick this up until this video that I watched. So the reason why Bond handed over the card was just so that Dominic Green's henchman, his weird looking henchman who's named Elvis.
Yeah.
The dude who's like serving with that haircut?
Yeah, his name is Elvis, apparently. So when he calls the number on the Universal Exports card, that sends a tracker to Bond's phone so he could get Dominic Green's information, apparently, and that's how he's able to track him, I guess.
Okay. What I can't follow any of this. It was a mystery.
I didn't even catch it. You can't. It's impossible to catch it in the
either.
movie. I had some YouTuber explain it to me.
I mean, I could barely catch when she is somehow knocked unconscious during the boat chase. Like and then she's just lying in the boat. Like, I mean, I was entertained, I guess, but it was kind of like, whoa, shapes and colors, you know. And then I have to say, one of his more psychotic lines. She's seasick.
Excuse me. Thank you. She's seasick.
He just hands her body to some guy.
Yeah.
Bruh. Problematic.
Well, by this franchise's standards, it's practically the I Have a Dream speech.
That's true.
Listeners at home, I think Jan just walked off the episode.
Jan has left the building.
He walked out. We weren't talking about epic movie for a whole hour. So
yeah, I think Jan realized that somehow we're only like 30 minutes into this 96-minute movie, and it's like
the next thing I wrote down was David Harbour.
Oh yeah, so now we're getting into the CIA subplot.
Yeah,
right?
we get the CIA.
Jan, come back. We're discussing the CIA.
Bond asks M to track down who Dominic Green is, and then they call the CIA guy, and they patch it into David Harbour, and David Harbour's like, we're not interested in him. And our favorite British twink, Bill Tanner, goes like,
"Yay!"
Wait, he said that he wasn't. He said that he had no idea who he is. And then M's like, "Aha, that's the lie. Why would CIA patch me into the CIA head of South America if he wasn't a person of interest?" So yeah, he's suspicious.
I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. We have no interest in Mr. Green.
He's a person of extreme interest.
But he just said that he wasn't.
Tanner, I asked about the man, and she transferred me to the section chief of South America. How would she know to do that if they weren't tracking him?
I think Felix is very, very funny in this movie.
I feel like Felix is like, why are we doing this?
He's frowning a lot.
He's just sitting there going like, shit, man, this is bullshit. And that's his whole character. Like,
yeah, no, basically he's just there like with his soul is like dead. Like, as he's sitting there, he's just like, I don't want to be here.
I can't tell if his soul is dead because he hates American imperialism in South America, or if it's because apparently he had a much larger role in the script before Daniel Craig rewrote the script.
It's so funny to me that Felix is like, this is bullshit. This is not who we are. And I'm like, my dude, you're in the CIA.
That's
like,
all you do.
It's all you do is cruise into South America.
He's very good. He didn't sign up for that. He signed up for the...
He signed up to give a British agent like $1 billion to win a game of poker.
Oh yeah, I like how they acknowledge that. I like how it's David Harbour who's like, man, what happened to us getting Lashif? That was like the whole thing that we cooperated with you
and you're
on.
like, oh yeah, and then they just drop it.
No, wait, don't they say like, we gave you his body?
Oh yeah, they're like, you gave you his body. What did you want? His soul?
I promised them Lashif, and they got Lashif.
They got his body.
If they'd wanted his soul, they should have made a deal with a priest.
Yeah, they've been lot into Lashif.
They gave him a burial at sea with like full on. Oh wait, real quick, while we are talking about David Harbour, can I point out, it's crazy. I didn't know about this guy until Stranger Things, but then you watch all these movies from the 2000s, and he's just there.
He's one of those, yeah. He's
I mean, kind of like Jeffrey Wright, who wasn't really known by name until
Jeffrey Wright is in I found out. I'm like, oh my god, he was like in a billion movies like in the early 2000s. He's in Ali. He was in Shaft.
He was an epic movie.
I wish he was an epic movie.
So he was not actually in it?
He was Jack Swallows.
No, Jeffrey Wright was not an epic movie. Guys, we got to be careful. Saying stuff like that about people might actually get us sued.
Yeah, Sheriff Hopper, you may know him from Stranger Things, but he was originally developed by Friedberg and Seltzer.
Yes.
You will not gaslight me this time. I definitely saw full-on penetration by Jeffrey Wright on epic movie.
He'll lie down with anybody, including you, brother. Including you.
Well, there is full penetration in Epic Movie, but it's not by Jeffrey Wright. It's by Fred Willard.
That's true. That's actually
shit. What movie are we talking about again?
A movie that's so bad and it's interesting. Instead of like the most mediocre James Bond movie, like just the most blah piece of crap.
The most mediocre James Bond movie that somehow out mediocres For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, wait, can I do an apology? I remember in our For Your Eyes Only episode, I remembered that Quantum of Solace is the improved second draft of For Your Eyes Only. No, absolutely not. I take it back.
This opera scene is the prime example of like, this should be interesting, but it's, what am I looking at? You know, like...
It's borderline experimental.
This whole movie is borderline experimental. This movie is like the last year of Marienbad of James Bond movies.
Pretty much. No, you can feel Mark Forster being like, the auteur theory has entered the James Bond universe, and you're like, get it out, get it the fuck away from me.
He goes like, here's how you make a Bond movie smarter. You put opera that has a somewhat similar theme adds to the movie you're doing, and you intercut it with the movie, then that automatically makes it smarter and people will understand what's going on.
So high class.
It's Hitchcockian.
I saw a clip on Twitter today that was the American Dad theme but sung in Italian, and I was like, I want to put that in the scene with the opera.
I like the caption. It's like, is this what watching opera is like of the American Dad theme in Italian?
Buongiorno America.
Another way to die. Wait, what was I going to say? Have you guys seen that Laser Cat sketch from SNL where Steven Spielberg pops up in the Laser Cat sketch? And he's like in it, and they cut to them like showing the movie to Lorne Michaels, and Steven Spielberg's like, do you see my cameo? Like Alfred Hitchcock? It's Hitchcockian. And I think of that while I'm watching this opera sequence where they're like, do you see this? It's like The Man Who Knew Too Much. It's Hitchcockian.
It's really not. I mean, to start with, it's like, first of all, Quantum is the worst secret organization I've ever seen. They're literally talking about like very important shit over like, they're zooming basically. Like while the opera is going on, you can very visibly see their lips moving. James Bond is hacking them with no problem. And
well, because he just knocked out a guy and stole his earpiece. And
yeah, it's so fucking stupid. And it's like, it's not interesting at all, anything that's happened here. And James Bond just goes like, hey, I'm here. And then they just chase him.
Get up and leave immediately, except for Mr. White.
And James Bond's like, now I know who's the bad guy. And I'm like, this is written by a moron. Not that Daniel Craig is a moron. I love you, Daniel Craig.
It could be either Daniel Craig, Mark Forster, Paul Haggis, Robert Wade, or Neil Purvis. It could be any one of them.
Yeah, I understand there was a strike, but this is not good or interesting.
And the highest profile guy they see there is Guy Haines, named after a character from Strangers on a Train. Hitchcockian.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that British guy. It's funny, like in that scene, he's like, who are these people? And Bill Tanner's like, oh, this guy is the second command of the Prime Minister or whatever.
And Guy Haines, special envoy to the Prime Minister.
And then literally the next scene when he meets up with Mathis, he's like, who are these people? That's the guy who is advisor to the Prime Minister.
That's Guy Haines. You don't know him? Should I?
I'm like, but they already told you that, right?
This movie is so fucking repetitive in terms of beats and dialogue. Like, that, what I was gonna say about this scene is like, so then we get another pretentious, atrociously edited chase scene that's intercut with some pretentious bullshit. In this case, opera.
The name of the opera.
Tosca. What is Tosca?
Tosca, yes.
You win Jeopardy, Mikey.
Jake, you're the opera lover. Tell us of Tosca.
Mikey, do you have any familiarity with Tosca?
I do not.
It is about Napoleon's invasion of Italy.
The church is involved.
Yes.
It's about like a death of a lover or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know this fucking opera.
Oh, Tosca isn't for everyone.
Wait, Tosca, I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry right now. Tosca's a singer. She has romantic troubles. And then at the end, Tosca's a woman who loved a foreign agent, but then she commits suicide when her ruse is discovered by the organization
Who
she carried.
Cares? This is an epic movie level logic, just like reference. No.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God.
Doesn't make it good. You see, if I was directing this and I wanted to intercut the scene with an elevated operatic thing, I would intercut it with Pierce Brosnan surfing a tsunami.
Yes. You can intercut literally anything.
Anything.
Oh, Die Another Day, the opera? That'd be pretty good.
That'd be
Father,
sick.
I have made myself an Englishman.
Buongiorno, North Korea.
But actually, this is what makes it good, because did you know that movies are art? And if you reference high art, that automatically makes your movie high art?
Definitely.
Yes. YouTube taught me that.
It's very high class.
We are so smart.
You don't have a Bond girl with a stupid name.
Well, we do, but they don't say her name.
Have we already met her?
No, not yet. We're getting to her. So Bond knocks a guy off a building.
Okay, I gotta say something
Michael
here.
has to say something.
I gotta say something here. Bond knocks this guy off, and in the background, we see, for some reason at an opera, the speed of light written on on the facade of the building, and the speed of light is commonly denoted as c in physics and math when you're using it. So my ass immediately thought, as soon as he knocked this guy off, I was like, so I guess we know what the C stands for. That one, that one's for the.
That's from Spectre. That's right.
That's a deep cut.
I was like, Mikey just pulled a Bond one-liner. Like, what does he mean?
Wait, what's going on?
All right, I'll have to find out, Inspector, what that means.
And now we know what C stands for. Careless.
This is for the physics heads. We'll leave it at that. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. That was like my bit of the night.
That was pretty good.
That was smarter than the opera scene, Mikey.
Yeah.
We'll agree it's a 10 out of 10. Best scene of the movie.
We all love it. Moving on. So James Bond goes looking for Mathis, and Mathis is basically living like
yeah, with a wife. He has like a whole family, and then he's like, remember me? Oh yeah, I had you tortured. Like MI6 apparently tortured Mathis.
And then as an apology, they gave him a house.
They gave him a house, which again, didn't Casino Royale happen like 3 days ago?
Yes.
Like, what was the timetable on this?
They bought him a house like immediately, like, sorry, because you...
Sorry.
He literally just moved in, and then Bond knocked on his door.
This is one of the, I gotta say, this is one of the few plot points that I do want to touch on, because this is one of the times where I'm like, wait a minute, because he kills a guy, or no, he pushes a guy off onto a car.
Which is a reference to Spy Who Loved Me, also.
Oh yeah, that's another
Roger Moore,
me.
Yes, they did the same thing, except he actually killed the guy.
Yes.
Craig, I guess it's kind of sort of an accident, but then M's like, you literally murdered another British agent, and so I'm taking away your credit card.
Oh, that's right. She cancels all his cards, and he's like, tell them I'm going to Cairo.
And then he basically soft goes rogue. Which
yes.
I think sums up the movie, because I'm like, he's going rogue, right?
Yes.
It's literally a reckless rich kid, and his parents are cutting his American Express. You know, like...
Right, and then so he's got to talk to his cool Uncle Mathis.
Yeah, because M is like, okay, James Bond, not the best spy. I should stop giving him money. He's fucked up on every turn, basically.
It's weirdly ill-defined, because, yes, he is now basically rogue, but not quite,
Not really. It's so half-assed.
But the thing is that we're never sure why he's doing anything, really, because he's just like, I guess I'm just doing the job.
Yeah, the weird thing about him going rogue is the mission hasn't changed. Like, he's just doing M's work. They just don't want him to do it. And that's why I think M comes across terribly in this movie, because she just seems confused. She doesn't know what she's ordering. Everyone's just working across purposes. Like, she is not running a tight ship.
Accurate MI6 representation.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
But yeah,
it's
no,
true.
the very next scene, which is when the Mathis and Bond are talking on the airplane, they're talking about Vesper. That's when you remember, like, oh, right, this movie's supposed to be about this. And that's what I mean. What the problem with this movie is, it's just like average James Bond globe-trotting things happening. And then a random scene will pop up there. I was like, oh, by the way, remember, the movie's about this. And then we go on to, like, not mentioning it at all.
And the whole Bond-Mathis dynamic, like, it's nice to see them so chummy. But in many ways, it feels to be more a sequel to their dynamic in the book of Casino Royale than in the movie of Casino Royale. Like, they reference conversations that only happened in the book. Mathis feels he has to explain. Again, everyone's trying to tell Bond who Vesper was, and I'm like, I thought he came to peace with who she was at the end of the first movie.
It's like the end of You Only Live Twice. He got amnesia, and he thinks he's a Japanese fisherman. And
exactly.
Like, no.
No, and it's weird because, well, I guess the whole point of Mathis' story, if you take the YouTubers thing, it's a thing about forgiveness.
Yes.
It's about because Mathis is able to forgive Bond for having him tortured because he thought that he was a mole.
Is Mathis the guy that got his nuts chopped?
Yeah, the nuts taste. Yeah.
Okay. He got tasted in the balls.
I thought James Bond got tased in the balls.
They all get tasted in the nuts at one point or another in this franchise.
That's true.
Yeah.
Including me. watching this movie.
Okay, have we met Miss Fields yet?
We are about to.
Yeah, well, this is they head to Bolivia, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
this is the only scene that I genuinely love and I think is the funniest shit ever, is when they're in the cab and Mathis is trying to make a phone call and the cab driver keeps complaining about the economy and shit. And Mathis just keeps telling him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Which is important exposition because they're setting up global warming.
Yes.
The drought. The destabilizing the government, but it's also very funny.
But also, as a Mexican, if you've ever been in a cab in Latin America, that is 1000% an accurate experience being in a cab here.
See, when you're in a cab in the United States, you just sit quietly and listen to what weird podcast is playing on the radio guy's host, and they're just like, Jesus went to Antarctica, and we all just nod politely.
While you're like, I'm trying to listen to Jen and Troy argue about The Spy Who Loved Me. Shut up.
Shut up. They both like it, but they don't like how each other likes it.
Yeah.
That's a goal of mine, is if we end up being played in some random cabbie's car, and it's this episode.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on an Uber, you win the prize.
Yeah, you win the prize
for this
Jake,
episode.
I live in fear that someone's going to go taxi driver, and it's going to be us. That like throw them over the edge. It's like, these are the men who couldn't take it anymore.
What is it, a disgruntled Quantum of Solace fan?
It's like American Psycho, but instead of listening to I'm Walking on Sunshine, he's listening to this podcast.
Yeah, Epic Movie does have the mono myth. You're right.
Yeah, can we mention Jem Martinton, very pretty lady, very good actress. I think she's way more memorable than Olga Kurylenko, and she does nothing.
I'll differ. I kind of am with Gemma on this one. I think Miss Fields, because you don't find out her first name until the final credits. Like, they never say it in the movie. I don't know. This character seems to be just kind of there, and she's trying.
Like all the other characters.
No, but Olga has a revenge arc.
It's a return to Bond form, just to have someone to show
Pretty
up.
lady, funny name.
Everyone goes, the Craig era had great Bond women, and it's like, no, it had Vesper Lynd. Almost every other Bond girl in the Craig movies is not fun or great.
I would argue that only about 2 or 3 Bond women are good in this entire franchise.
All right, let's name them, boy. All right, let's get down.
All right.
No, we're moving on.
Oh, wait. Okay, wait. Paul's about to make a point. But real quickly, I'll just say it now. So the whole bit here is the character's name is Miss Fields, and she's embarrassed by her first name, which you find out in the credits is Strawberry, and her name is Strawberry Fields, which is supposed to be a punny Bond name, but all the Bond names were sex puns.
And this is a Beatles pun. And we all know what James Bond would say.
Yeah.
That's as bad as listening to the Beatles without earmuffs.
We all know James Bond is a Wings fan.
Yes, canonically.
But yeah, so this is weird because, yes, he is essentially rogue, and she is sent to bring him in.
To babysit him.
And they just go to a hotel.
They go to a shitty hotel, and then Bond is so offended by going to the shitty hotel, he's just like, I'd rather fucking sleep in a morgue.
You're going nowhere.
So shoot me. I'd rather stay in a morgue.
And then they drive to a nice hotel, and they're like, but please note that our cover is that we're teachers on sabbatical. And then he goes in with the Spanish saying that we're teachers on sabbatical who just won the lottery.
Oh, yeah, that's him talking in Spanish is giving Pierce Brosnan saying mojito and Die Another Day give a run for its money.
Hola, somos maestros on año sabático. Y nos ganamos la lotería. Mojito?
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. World. Yeah, he sounds like Pitbull. Somos dos profesores en sabático. He sounds very funny, but then they shag immediately, and that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, wait, that pickup line. He's like, do you want to help me find the stationery?
I can't find the stationery.
He's just standing in the other room like, where's the stationery?
And then she like laughs like, hee, that's cute.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we have to get to a party to see Olga get like thrown off a cliff.
Yeah, that part is so funny.
Oh, where Guillermo del Toro shows up?
You know, there are people in this country spending half their paycheck just to get clean water.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, they go to a party, they're just talking, and some guy is 80 yard, and I'm like, wait a fucking minute, what? Wait, like, that is Guillermo del Toro. Like, me and Melissa were like, and we look it up, and sure enough, it's Guillermo del Toro. Wikipedia claims Alfonso Cuarón is also in this. I did not pick him up.
So again, why did they not get Del Toro or Cuarón to just, direct the movie?
Because Mark Forster is so qualified to do a last-minute thrown-together Bond movie, of course.
This is also post Children of Men and Pan's Labyrinth, so they already had blank check at this point to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
Hey, I'm sure Del Toro would have liked some time off from not doing The Hobbit to direct this garbage.
But this has no monsters. Except, wait, what if the monsters are the humans? Have you thought about that?
What? Oh my God, you're blowing my mind.
That's why he's the king, baby.
This is reminding me of some of the defenses where it's just like, Dominic Green doesn't need to be a traditional villain.
Doesn't have to be interesting or memorable.
Yeah, the villains back in the day represented the fears of the time. What was the fears of the time in 2008? Well, the financial crash, the banks, and like all this stuff. And I'm just like,
oh my God.
You do realize that
shut the fuck up.
The nuclear fears, like with Blofeld and all that stuff. I'm like, you do know that they made them caricatures. They were fun and interesting. They embodied those fears of the time, but they were also fun and interesting. Dominic Green is just a guy.
Wait. Are they saying that like the greatest fear of someone in like 1964 was some German was going to try to make all the gold in Fort Knox radioactive?
Yes.
They're going to take our gold.
But yeah, this from here on out is just like a very unintentionally funny sequence of events happening. Dominic Green tries to push his girlfriend off a balcony, and James Bond is like, I'll save you. and like, what was your plan if she actually died? Like, what?
Yeah. It's so bizarre, like, because you see, like, may I butt in? And they cut to the back of Matthew Almeric's head, and then he moves a little bit, and then there's Daniel Craig there. Like they couldn't even get a shot of him entering the scene. You know what I mean?
Like he's just there, and they walk away, and Strawberry Fields goes up and sees all this happen. And I guess Elvis is sent to follow them, and Strawberry Fields knocks him down the stairs. Here's another thing. Thank you, video essays on Quantum of Solace. I did not catch this because this movie is edited like shit. There is a gag here. So Strawberry Fields not only kicks him down the stairs, but when he lands down at the bottom of the stairs, it turns out he's wearing a toupee, and his toupee falls off.
Oh my God, it's like the Robert Altman Popeye. It all full circle.
But so you don't even see the gag where the hairpiece falls out because it's so short.
I never noticed that, and I would have laughed heartily if I had noticed that.
I would have laughed too.
We can't stop for a joke here. This movie needs to feel like a bullet.
We need to keep going. It's like a bullet. This episode is like a bullet. We're 2 hours in. It's a bullet.
Then they shove Mathis in the fucking trunk of the car.
Well, yeah. How did he get in the trunk? How did he get in the trunk?
No, it's like how in Casino Royale, Mathis had that dead body hidden in a trunk.
Yeah, he keeps hiding bodies in trunks. So now the tables have turned.
So he's talking to that bald general at the party, right? Who's a different general. And then while James Bond and Strawberry Fields are preoccupied with all that stuff, he got taken to the side and killed and put in a trunk.
Not killed.
But then it's just like they're driving, the police shows up, they pull their guns because they see Mathis in the fucking trunk of a car. And then
because they get set up.
Yeah, but then James Bond just uses Mathis as a human shield.
That's our Bond. He loves his human shield.
That was pretty funny, not gonna lie.
I was howling at the
screen. You're my best friend.
And then, he has a tearful death scene. Forgive her. Forgive yourself. And he just throws his body in a dumpster.
And then he takes his money, and he's like, that's how you treat your friends? I don't think he'd care.
Yeah, I don't think he'd care. He wanted this.
That is, if we ever got into an altercation with people with guns, I would 1000% use Paul as a human shield and just show him in a trash can.
And take his money.
take his money.
Take his jacket. Take his jacket.
And I'd be like, "Good night, sweet prince," and then just throw him in a dumpster.
You know, I will give the movie credit. This is a good isolated scene, but the problem is that Bond's emotional journey is so unclear.
Yes. There's no context to any of it.
Well, it's a preview of other films, perhaps Bond or otherwise, to come, in which what is the shortcut to stakes and drama? Killing off some guy.
Yeah, killing off a guy, you know. But I mean, the movie was written better. I could see the scene working more. But as it stands now, we're just like, oh, I guess this is supposed to be a moment where Bond is reflecting on his actions, I guess, or his actions have consequences, I guess. I don't know. What am I supposed to feel? Like, what is this supposed to mean? Why is Mathis dead, and why am I supposed to feel sad right here?
It was like, he was my friend. I was like, what? You knew him for 2 days, and then you taste him in the balls. Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. So, like, I don't get it.
Oh, wait, his name isn't Mathis.
Oh, yeah, it turns out that that's his cover name.
But he went to his house. What did his wife call him? Does his wife call him Mathis?
He called him Strawberry Fields.
Yes.
Wait, what?
That's his real name.
2 people named Strawberry Fields in 1 week?
What are the odds?
It's very confusing.
Somehow they end up in a cave, which I don't...
Wait, you just skipped like a whole ass plane crash.
Yeah, the weird plane.
Oh yeah, they're in an airplane. I forgot.
They're in an airplane. It gets shot down. Oh, there's one funny line where it's just like, so did you get into Green's organization by having sex with them? And then Olga Kurylenko's just like, what, are you offended? And then Bond's like, no, not in the slightest.
You infiltrated Green's organization by having sex with him.
That offends you?
No, not in the slightest.
Then this cuts to like randomly just M having like a bureaucratic meeting with a guy in an office, and I'm like, what does this have to do with anything?
Isn't it the same guy from Casino Royale? The guy that Lashif keeps calling?
This is Pegasus from Johnny English, and you would know that if you'd followed my advice.
No, but I do know that Jennifer Coolidge is an epic movie. So I think we chose wisely. No, what bothers me about this chunk is they've set Strawberry Fields up to be a sidekick. And then she just goes missing. Like, I thought maybe we had skipped her death scene or something. I'm like, what happened to Strawberry?
No, Bond just leaves her at the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we should talk probably about how after this he finds Strawberry Fields. And...
Well, we're not there yet. We got to do the cave scene.
But the cave scene is boring.
But it's the core of the movie, Jim.
It's where Camille starts saying, like, okay, here's my backstory about the general. I was about to get revenge, but then you stopped and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then Bond goes like, I lost somebody. And she's like, did you catch whoever did it? And he's like, no. And then she's like, tell me when you do. I'd like to know how it feels. And they both bond how they're both trying to use Green to go on a revenge mission. You finally are like, is this what has been motivating Bond this whole time?
Okay, yeah, this scene again could be good in concept, but it's like you compare it to the dialogue scenes in Casino Royale, and the dialogue's not there. There's zero fucking chemistry between these two bozos, and you're just checked out, you know?
I also wanted to point out this is when, because, like, again, I was sort of amused with, like, the action. This dialogue scene, she's tearfully explaining her trauma. There's at least 6 different angles of the two of them standing still, and it's just, like, bouncing around. Again, compare side by side to a movie that has similarly wacky action scenes, Spider-Man 2. The dialogue when the famous scene where he explains what happened to Uncle Ben, it's shot like fucking Prestige, you know, like it is rock style. Anyway, it's very simple is the point.
Yes, because that movie has air.
Okay. In the cave, they find a lake and they're like, oh, water, Chinatown. Very smart.
So it turns out that Quantum is trying to overthrow the government of Bolivia and replace it with this general so that they can get a deal for this shitty land that the American CIA thinks is populated with oil. But Quantum actually knows that it's not filled with oil, it's filled with water, and they're going to make a bunch of money off of it.
Yay.
Work smart, not hard.
Yeah,
that's true.
There you go.
Hustle grind set.
No, it's a pretty accurate.
Sigma Cockian.
Analyze this, Sigmund Freud.
Analyze it.
So they get out.
Strawberry Fields, she's dead, and she's
covered in oil.
She's oil fingered.
Yes, but apparently Mark Forster was just like, well, I wanted to recreate that scene, and in a way, oil is the new gold.
Oil has always been the new gold.
I don't think it's always been valuable, Mark Forster. What the fuck are you talking about?
God damn it, this
Dude,
movie's
they
dumb.
should have called the movie Oil Finger.
That would have been awesome. I would have totally been behind it.
And I don't know. I think there's just something so weird with the Craig era movies and women in refrigerators, because we've talked for a long time about how the James Bond movies often do this women in refrigerators tropes where there's always a woman who has to die.
Oh, you mean they call it fridge stuffing? I don't know exactly what that means.
It's called Women in Refrigerators because Kyle Rayner, when he became the new Green Lantern in the 90s, he had a girlfriend, Alexandra DeWitt, and his Uncle Ben tragedy was that his first supervillain killed her and stuffed her in a refrigerator for him to find. So now whenever you talk about a woman being killed to advance the man's story, it's called Women in
why did
Refrigerators.
the Green Lantern become like the name of this trope? I feel like this trope is much older than Green Lantern.
Well, yeah, but no one noticed it until they were like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that to that character."
Well, it's like jumping the shark, right? It's like, why did Happy Days? I don't know. It just catches on.
Yeah, it just catches on. It's just so ridiculous you shoved a woman in a refrigerator.
But this doesn't advance anything. Again, like Bond just stares at it blankly, dumbly.
No, wait. This talks about the movie being about revenge. Because now going after Dominic Green is getting revenge for Strawberry Fields, which is weird because I thought he was revenge for Vesper.
No, it's not about revenge for Strawberry Fields.
But the oil thing at the end.
Well, he does call out Strawberry Fields, but it's not for her. But in that scene, M goes like, Bond, you've been fucking lying to me. You're actually fucking hurt about Vesper Lynn, and you're going on a revenge mission where you're fucking up all the time. And then Bond's like, no, I'm not. I just found that there's water in the desert area. No, I'm not.
No.
This movie's so fucked.
Yeah.
With the motivation. But this is like the big scene where M's just like, God damn it, Bond. I thought I could trust you, and you're just a fucking insane person out for revenge. These guys are gonna take you. And then Bond's just like, well, you're being controlled by like the Illuminati, basically. Fuck you. I'm doing this job for the greater good of mankind, and you're just a puppet for the Illuminati pulling the strings. And then she goes like, by God, Bond is right. He's not actually doing this for revenge. Bond actually cares about other people.
Is that what it's supposed to be?
I think so, but it's so muddled.
I don't think they were legally allowed to put that much thought into the writing.
Again, I've been brainwashed by these Quantum of Solace defense things, and I'm trying to look at it through that way, but I'm just trying to like pinpoint like, okay, what is Bond going through? And I'm like, it's complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense, like how you get there.
No, well then when the fucking MI6 agents and they're like escorting him to the elevator, this is maybe the most egregious example of the editing and the tight shooting and the shaky cam being like, what the fuck? He like gets into a fight with all the MI6 agents in the elevator, Captain America style. And then at the end, he's like walking away, and I'm like, "Oh, what is that? What it was supposed to be? That he won? I genuinely thought it was supposed to be like they were beating the shit out of him."
Yeah, I was confused too. I guess they just gave up. M's just walking down a white hallway in a white suit, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, "M, Strawberry Fields was a good person. Make sure that shows up in the report." And I'm like, "Did Daniel Craig improv that?" He's like, "We need to show that he liked Strawberry Fields."
Well, I think it was just to show that like, this thing, I'm after something big, M. Trust me. And also, Strawberry Fields is a damn good field agent. And then M is just like, by God, he's right. And then automatically she's on his side again. And then you're just like, wait a second. What?
Wait, can we talk about how they kind of repeat the bit about M talking about the woman who died in the hammock from Casino Royale in this scene? But now M is like, so how many women is that, Bond? Like, she's like...
Yeah, it's almost the same scene.
Yeah. Just copy paste, except now she's like a dick.
Look how well your charm works, James. They'll do anything for you, won't they? How many is that now?
I might as well ask you if all the vodka martinis ever silenced the screams of all the men you've killed. Or if you find forgiveness in the arms of all those willing women for all the dead ones you failed to protect.
Well, and this leads us into the climax of the movie, right?
Well, yeah, there's a very funny bit where he goes to Felix and he's like, I need information. He's like, well, the cops are coming. You got 20 seconds. He's like, all right, here's a name. Have fun.
Actually, the line is pretty good. How long have I got? 30 seconds. Well, that doesn't give us a lot of time, does it?
How long have I got?
30 seconds.
Well, that doesn't give us a lot of time, does it?
You don't need writers to write this stuff. It writes itself.
Oh, and then they compare imperialism, where it's just like, yeah, you guys are like carving up South America, you assholes. And then he's just like, look who's talking, fucking Britain. There's like a line like that.
You know, I was just wondering what South America would look like if nobody gave a damn about cocoa communism. So it impressed me the way you boys carved this place up.
I'll take that as a compliment coming from a Brit.
These movies are based as fuck for some reason.
Unfortunately, they're not that entertaining.
No. Well, the only part where I'm like mildly entertained in this is when Matthew Almarac starts waving an axe like a madman and doing that yell. Like, ah!
Yeah.
Well, wait, okay, leading up to that, there's two moments. One makes me very uncomfortable. The other one, I find it very funny. I don't like when the general attacks Charlie Chaplin's, like, granddaughter.
That's so unnecessarily, violent.
Yeah, it's so unnecessary for these movies. And it's like, I don't know why it's there. It's creepy. It's just unnecessary. Get it out.
That is Doug Walker coded, yeah.
I agree. I guess what they were trying to go for is so that it parallels what happened at Camille's family, so that gives her more of a reason to kill the guy. And then also making the bad guy seem even worse, even though we've already seen him be pretty bad already and heard about how bad he is. But yeah, you don't, it's not necessary.
Yeah, the Bond series is not built for that.
No,
it's very weird. But then we get the thing goes on fire and it looks horrible.
Yeah, because the hotel is like filled up with explosive fuel tanks. And they make a line about it just like, oh, this is a green hotel. It's powered by these explosive fuel tanks. That doesn't sound like a good idea.
But how does it like blow up entirely?
That's a great question.
Because a car crashes into a thing and that blows up, and then the hotel catches on fire, so all the fuel tanks start blowing up.
Is this before or after James Bond does what I call the LinkedIn kill, where he jumps on the car of that general who betrayed Mathis and he goes, "You and I have a friend in common."
You and I had a mutual friend.
I call that the LinkedIn kill because that's how all my interactions on LinkedIn go.
You shoot them in a car.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out for those mutuals, am I right?
Yeah, they'll take you down.
The fucking slow-mo shot where it's like the camera is doing like a dolly pan and like things are exploding. It should be cool, but it looks horrible.
Are you talking about the big like? Well, I think it's in one of the hotel rooms with the explosion, like the CG fire.
Yeah, the CG fire, and it's exploding like right next to him. Like
that's pretty wacky.
There's a cool shot of Bond diving over a car and the thing exploding. That was kind of cool.
Some of the choreography, like toward the end when he's like hanging off that little bridge thing, like that was kind of interesting. There's a lot of CG on top of it.
It's okay, yeah. It's definitely like the best action in this movie, and it's just like, it's okay.
Well, again, kind of like a lot of the earlier action scenes, like you could tell like this is pretty like elaborate choreography, but you really have to pay attention just to figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it all blows up.
And have we already talked about Green axing himself in the foot?
Oh, yeah. And he chops off his toe.
That's he chops off his toe.
Well, for all I know, he got in between his toes, but it seems like he got a toe.
Yeah. And then, wait, okay, does Olga Kurylenko, she does kill the general, right?
Yeah, she shoots him, but then Dominic Green goes like, sounds like you lost another one.
Sounds like you just lost another one.
And it's just like, how do you know that? She was the one with the gun, not him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then they just immediately cut to her holding the gun. It's like, oh, he's wrong.
The fucking general, this is a Pedro Armendáriz Jr. situation all over it again, where it's like they get a fantastic Mexican actor and they're like, we'll have him there doing nothing because we need like a dictator guy. You know, and it's just like... He's a good actor. Have him do something. You know, he's been in really good movies. No.
How about this? He'll attack Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter. And it's like, why?
Ah, yes, the classics.
Yes. So Camille has like a freak out because she's getting PTSD from her family dying. And then you have like this dark scene where Bond is like crailing her and she's like, not like this, not like this. And then Bond pulls out a gun and is about to shoot her in the head.
He's gonna do a murder-suicide, no, is the implication.
Yeah. He's gonna do a murder-suicide, but then he gets a 1 frame second shot of explosive thing, and then he shoots that instead, and he's like, okay, let's go. Come on.
He's this close from pulling a Raul Silva in Skyfall. He's like, we'll go with the same bullet. And I'm like, this man is insane, but like not in a good way.
Well, no, that's the whole thing. My issue with the Daniel Craig James Bond, I mean, I haven't seen No Time to Die.
Isn't he your favorite James Bond?
He is my favorite James Bond, but my one issue with him is, okay, Bond has a death wish, but Daniel Craig, like at the first opportunity, I feel he'll be like, all right, time to die. Give it up. Gonna go kill myself now.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
I don't know. Don't you get the sense that Daniel Craig James Bond, I don't know how his story is gonna end, but I just feel like in most of his movies, whenever he's in a deadly situation, he gives up a lot quicker than previous James Bonds. I'm a little worried about him.
Yeah, I guess so. If you're looking at the end of this where he's looking to murder-suicide himself.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, but yeah, then...
He would never follow through with that, though.
He would never follow through with it.
Yeah,
He would never die in a missile strike.
Well, because the thing about
lair.
Bond is that he always finds a way to live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
As we learned in Die Another Day, he threw out a cyanide pill years ago because he's not interested in dying. He's interested in living life to the fullest because he could die.
He has no time to die.
No.
Speaking of James Bond being like a weird psychopath, does anyone feel like it's like really weird that he forces Matthew Almarac to drink a can of oil?
I did think that was weird.
It's a little dark. It's a little too like Mad Max Punisher-y.
Bond. Like this is like the Punisher. Like I don't like a great James Bond would just shoot him in the head.
Yeah. I was like, James Bond would just execute him.
Yeah. Or he would just arrest him. I don't get why M doesn't get mad at him because M keeps getting mad at him for killing everybody. And so he's just like, I get the picture. Don't kill him. I'll leave him out in the desert, give him motor oil when he gets thirsty, and I didn't kill him. Right?
It seemed like he was finally getting his moment to be the villain where he's like, I'm not gonna just shoot you like Dr. Evil's son said to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna give you sharks with lasers. In this case, a can of oil.
Yeah.
Maybe you get rescued. I don't care.
Yeah, it is a weird, like, kind of pirate marooning thing. I'm trying to think, is this the first time James Bond was comfortable walking away from a movie from a villain where he didn't know if that villain had been like killed? Like, I guess not on Her Majesty's Secret Service, but otherwise Bond is like, are they in ashes?
He didn't like torture Blofeld in Her Majesty's Secret. He was not like, drink my piss, Blofeld.
You guys, this movie's genius because this is a dark, gritty Bond, and he fucking kills this guy by making him dehydrate himself to the point where he drinks oil and leaving him out in the desert. That is what a dark, gritty Bond does, bro.
Well, wait. Is that how he dies? Because M says something weird like he got 2 bullets in the back of the head, but he also had drank motor oil.
They found Green dead in the middle of the Bolivian desert of all places. 2 bullets in the back of his skull. They found motor oil in his stomach. Does that mean anything to you?
Wish I could help.
And I'm like, what? So did he drink the motor oil and then like a Spectre operative, like Mr. White, shot him?
Or he shot himself?
Oh, he shot himself in the back of the head?
No, someone else shot him.
Yeah, so he drank motor oil before that other person shot him?
Yes.
Why?
Because he's thirsty.
Yeah.
Can I have a nice... Oh, did you hear apparently this movie was sponsored by Coke and they served Coke at Green's party? And it was around the time they launched Coke Zero, which for the movie they rebranded to be Coke 007.
I remember Mikey always used to have Coke Zeros in his fridge. Your mom would always get Coke Zeros.
I know, and it disgusts me.
It's too bad that now you have cancer.
Yeah.
Mikey was found dead in Bolivia with 2 bullets in the back.
And a stomach full of Coke Zero.
He says the British intelligence gave it to him. Wait, real quick. When M revoked all of James Bond's credit cards, did that also revoke his license to kill?
No, I think it's just his credit card.
Oh, okay. So he did still have a license to kill.
Because he was buying dumb shit.
Guys, We don't have to pad it out. We don't.
We don't have to. Okay, so we're on the last scene of the movie where it's a mirror of the first scene in Casino Royale.
Wait, did we talk about him and Olga Kurylenko's last scene where they kiss?
Yeah, they kiss. It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Oh, and then he realizes, I don't think the dead care about revenge.
I don't think the dead care about vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess that's the lesson he learned, maybe?
Maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, she's gone. Goodbye.
Yeah, this
Camille.
last movie in Russia is like the only scene that is almost good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like the most meaty story we get in the whole thing.
Well, like, Daniel Craig is acting here for once.
Yeah, he's acting.
Yeah.
But is it a good scene?
And it's an adaptation of 007 in New York.
Oh, is that from 007 in New York? Yeah.
This scene is almost good because it's wrapping everything up. It's like James Bond learning his lesson of revenge is bedong, you know.
Not for the last time.
Not for the last time, but certainly the first time. And then we're getting to the nitty gritty of it, of him like doing the turn of like, no, I'm not gonna kill this guy. It happens off screen.
Yeah.
What the fuck? what? He's just walking out and he's like, oh, I didn't kill him. That was what the whole movie was leading.
I just gave him a can of motor oil.
He's drinking it right now. The lady.
He's just drinking it just cause the guy's a freak. I don't know.
The lady from Castle, who's Canadian intelligence and has Vesper's necklace. She's just watching him go to town in that motor oil. Oh, and then you have the last scene where M is like, are you back, James? And he's like, I never left or something.
Bond, I need you back.
I never left.
And I'm like, yeah, I didn't think he left. He basically was doing what you wanted him to. I don't know what you're all talking about.
It's weird. It's just like he figures out that Vesper's boyfriend set her up. He goes and he's like, wait, I guess revenge is meaningless.
It's bad.
And is bedong. I should do it by the book. I should think of the greater good and have him in for questioning. And that's what he does, even though he fucking brutally kills Dominic Green.
And then it's supposed to be like a cool last line when she's like, good to have you back.
Yeah.
And he's like, I never left. But to me, it just feels like I'm going like, good to have you back. And James Bond going like, what?
He's just like, what are you talking about? I've always been working for you.
Yeah.
And then he throws off the necklace.
Yeah, Vesper's necklace into the snow.
Where it's like, okay, just because you didn't need to get revenge doesn't mean that you don't have to remember Vesper. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the Last Jedi of James Bond.
I guess that's like his way of making peace in the movie, which would turn out to not be the case later on. But like,
yeah. But like, that's what I don't get about the Casino Royale. If you watch that movie in a vacuum, it feels like Bond has somewhat made peace with Vesper at the end of that movie and has integrated it into who he is. But then this movie goes, nope, he hasn't. He's still bitter about it. It still hurts.
He's got to figure shit out.
It could be, if they did it well, it might be interesting showing like, oh, he still hasn't faced demons that he thought he had faced, you know, but it's handled horribly.
Right.
Yeah, so then the movie ends and we finally get the gun barrel.
And it looks like shit.
It's horrible.
Oh my God, that gun barrel.
It goes like at like 5 times speed, just like boom, boom, boom. He's like jogging.
You can clearly see the gun.
Yeah, you can clearly see the gun. His pose is wrong because he just does this awkward pose where the gun's in front of his face, and then it zooms out into the Quantum of Solace logo, and we see him walk away.
Yeah, it feels like a final fuck you to the audience.
Well, the original plan was they shot a scene. It was going to end with him shooting Mr. White, and it would turn into the gun barrel. But like, what bothers me about putting the gun barrel at the end and having it be like the classic gun barrel is the gun barrel is supposed to get you excited for more adventure.
It's the table setting. It's the same thing of like when you watch a TV show, just like, or a logo in front of a movie. It's like, what kind of movie are you watching? It's the James Bond movie. Da 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 da. Now I'm in the zone for it. These past couple movies have been well. In the first one, it made sense because it's an origin story. Fine, I like it, and it's the way they use it is fine. Quantum of Solace, I don't. It's pointless. Now you're just like afraid of being a Bond movie. Congratulations, you successfully made this feel not like a Bond movie, but like a Redbox Jason Statham movie.
And that's why Die Another Day is the best gun barrel, because it gets you the most pumped.
Yeah.
That movie is a bullet.
That movie's literally
It literally has a bullet that shoots out of the screen into your head.
Yet another way to die.
Just another way to die. Wait, can we talk about the title of this movie real quick?
Sure.
So, Quantum of Solace is a short story by Ian Fleming about a stewardess's bad relationship that James Bond hears about over dinner. And he's like, when you lose that quantum of solace, a relationship dies. No kindness. It's like a little bit of solace.
It's a weird, convoluted title.
Well, it's a phrase that Ian Fleming made up when he was drunk one day.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it's supposed to mean the little bit of sympathy that you have for another person. And when you don't have that sympathy for another person anymore in a romantic relationship or any sort of relationship, then you should completely cut it off.
Yeah, but how do they justify it here? It's just like we don't have the name rights to Spectre yet, so I don't know. Like the bad guys are called Quantum.
In a convoluted sort of way, it sort of works because it is about him regaining a quantum of solace for Vesper. I guess.
Jake, you've watched too many of these fucking YouTube videos.
No, I will give it that. I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think I buy that. But that's why it's so obnoxious to have this sad snowbound scene about Vesper and then going and you're like, what?
The title is the least of this fucking thing's problems. We should get into final ratings, yeah.
Oh my god, is it over?
It's over.
Mikey, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Let me just get my post-watch thoughts section. I'm sorry, I grouped my epic movie thoughts together with this.
just start reading. Okay. We'll parse it out.
They're like, Jennifer Coolidge is fantastic.
That scene where she shows Cal Penn her boobs, great.
My thesis with Quantum of Solace is this movie is not bad. It's not good. It's got the fun globe trotting. It's not like a super grand scale. It's pretty limited in scale, I guess. It's not like the world's ending or anything like that. Sorry, Bolivia.
Hashtag sorry, Bolivia.
It's great action made just okay with shitty editing. Yeah. It's got the decency to have a 100-minute runtime. I mean, when I opened it up on my legal streaming service, I was expecting it to be like 2.5 hours just because it's a Bond movie.
A Daniel Craig Bond movie.
Yeah, a Daniel Craig Bond movie. So I gave this one a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd with no heart.
Oh,
it's
I think we're rating the hair for Daniel Craig. So what did you think of Daniel Craig's hair?
I don't know, like his hair is like not really a feature I care too much about. I would give his hair like a 4 out of 10. It's nothing to
write home about. Yeah.
No. All right, Troy.
All right. God. All right, I do the hair first because I like to get out of the way. Yeah, the hair isn't great. It's mussy. It seems to change consistency a lot of the time. A little yellowy at parts. A little too yellowy for my
Too blonde.
Too blonde.
You're one of those anti-blonde Bond people.
I don't care for that. I'm gonna give the hair like 4.5 out of 10. Like it's a mess. It's not the worst hair I've ever seen, but unmemorable. It's thrown together and messy. Much like this movie. I was kind of interested in revisiting this one because, again, I was like, this is the Bond movie that does revenge. It doesn't sell out its message like For Your Eyes Only. And then I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my God, this is a bad movie. This isn't a good time. Nothing's happening. What this movie is if you did a clip reel of all the James Bond movies and you just did the memorable parts, but it wasn't a well-edited clip reel. So it's the pacing's bad and you don't have context or anything. There's so much stuff that could be interesting here. I like the opera scene. I like Olga Kurylenko. I like this idea of chasing down this organization. But watching it again, the organization is not there at all. Like they hype up Quantum, but then it's just him going after Dominic Green, whose plan is boring and isn't really ever developed. Like James Bond stopping a coup could be fun, but that's not what happens. Nothing happens. This is a boring, short movie. This feels like half a movie. This feels like the thrown up residue of a movie. It completely invalidates the catharsis you get at the end of Casino Royale for no reason. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm running out of things to say about why this movie is bad. It's
oh
just
my God.
boring, bland.
Troy ran out of things to say.
I'm running out of things to say. Guys, I was quiet for long stretches of this episode eating an Italian beef sandwich because there's just no point. There's no point to talking about Quantum of Solace.
I was watching Epic Movie on my phone.
Paul was threatening to do that this whole episode.
Oh God.
Yeah, this movie is.
You said you were gone.
Wait, no, this movie might be the worst Daniel Craig Bond movie.
Yeah. Agree. Do I agree? I don't know. I'll have to rewatch a certain Christoph Waltz, but yeah.
I'm gonna kill you. No, there are many movies while doing this podcast that have gone up in ratings. I hate to say it. This is the first movie to go down from 2 out of 5 to 1.5 out of 5. I'm glad Mark Forster went back to his roots of classic English children's characters and stayed out of James Bond because this one sucked. I didn't enjoy watching it.
He moved on to Machine Gun Preacher.
Hell yeah. It's Jan's Toyne.
So the hair, it's really whack in this one. I don't know what the fuck happened. Like in Casino Royale, he's doing like a messy, like mid-2000s boy haircut, which is not my preferred Bond haircut, but it works for that one. He looks fine. In this one, like I said, they gave them this weird flat top. He looks like a beetle. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's not a cool haircut. That's not a haircut James Bond should ever have. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 because Daniel Craig is very handsome, still pulls it off somewhat, I guess. The movie, yeah, it sucks. This is pretty much the most forgettable Bond movie, even more than For Your Eyes Only. I did not remember a single thing about it. I was struggling to remember what happened while talking about it. Everything about it is incredibly mid-villain, mid-Bond, mid-Bond girls, mid-plot. And worst of all, it's this movie that pretends to be an elevated Bond movie because it's about themes, it's about revenge. But much like For Your Eyes Only, those themes are horribly executed. It's just a series of bad action sequences. You know, your average Bond globetrotting. Sporadically, they'll remind you, hey, these movies about this. And then they just keep doing the same bullshit. Yes, it has the decency of being 100 minutes, but it feels way longer than Casino Royale. It's very, very, very boring. 4 out of 10.
Very nice.
Jan did a little smile when she said very nice.
I felt proud.
Yeah, I'm going to say the hair. I disagree that a James Bond shouldn't look like this because I feel like they actually tried giving Daniel Craig the classic Bond comb. But the problem is with the shape of Daniel Craig's head, he ends up looking like Coconut Head from Ned's Declassified. So,
Coconut Head, come on the podcast.
Come on, Coconut Head, get over here.
Come on the podcast, guys.
So I give his hair like 5. The movie. This is an action movie, a Bond action movie that has it has the worst editing I have ever seen in my life. It is shot horribly during these action scenes. Mark Forster was completely ill-equipped to make this kind of movie. You know, his other movies are okay. This is not his strong suit, and it shows. You can just see like all this odds stacked against this movie. There is no character arc with Daniel Craig in this movie because we are not given any sort of guidance or like insight into what he's doing and why. Like the motivations are obscured, and that's a problem when this movie is all about a reaction to the events of the end of the last movie. Having said that, I don't think this is the worst movie ever. I think all these problems kind of just make it like a mediocre Europa action movie that should have starred Jason Statham or Liam Neeson.
It's the worst thing a Bond movie could be.
Yeah, which is bad because the Bond movies have this style and have like these trademarks, and this movie tries to say it's better than these trademarks and is trying to get at something deeper when they really have nothing to say. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge problem. It's just a weak sauce, just boring ass mid Bond movie. And yeah, I give this one a 2.5 out of 5.
I couldn't leave it on in the background because I would get like an epileptic fit Like, it would not be calming.
All right, Paul, your final thoughts.
Oh God. Okay. There's a scene where he's like stepping out of an airport, I think, with Olga or something.
Yeah.
And he's got the nice suit and the combed hair, and I'm like, something's not right about that hair. You know, it is very flat. It's true. I think I gotta give it like a 4.
No volume.
10.
No sauce.
No volume. No volume.
No volume.
It's got the opposite problem of me. I'm like sweating.
What?
Paul's just bragging about his luscious hair again.
That's because you're a cat, Paul. You're covered in hair.
I'm not gonna make that joke. Okay. The film, I'd heard that it was kind of insane, and it sort of was in a way that kind of fascinated me. I mean, I really could not follow almost anything that happened, but it was sort of fascinating. I think, if anything, like the action to my mind was a bit grating, just because there is so much of it. I think the runtime is perfectly fine. There's just too much action. Like, simply, like, these sequences go on for quite a while, and it's interesting. But like, when it's that insane, and you really have to work to connect the images together, you know, it was bold, experimental. It may have gone too far in a few places.
Yeah,
and it's worth noting. I mean, even in, like, I saw and enjoyed World War Z, it's not shot anything like this, you know?
No.
Like, I think this is really, he was going for something unusual. But I think that at the root of all this, which of course comes from, I guess, there not being a finished script, is everything is just not defined. And plot points aren't very defined. Bond as a character is barely there. There's very few scenes where they even discuss, like, there's maybe 2 or 3 scenes where they discuss Vesper, and then you have that ending. That's pretty much the entirety of the character work, quote unquote, in this script, which is an issue. But it wasn't, I didn't consider it like a disaster, but I guess I can't quite say it's really successful. So I guess I got to give it a 4 out of 10 as well.
Aren't we glad we had 5 people on this episode to analyze this movie?
And we're all like, it's kind of mid.
We're sending our best.
Mikey, we had a pretty good conversation.
We hope your mind didn't melt as much during this as when you were watching the movie.
Yes.
Mikey's just drinking motor oil right now.
Yeah, I'm just a little embarrassed to be the most like bro pilled out of everyone on here, because like I thought Epic Movie was like
no, it's all
that is so, you know what, it's like my least favorite movie ever. I respect it. I respect that you gave it
at
a 3
least
out of 10.
Epic Movie is trying to be something. But I do think it's funny now, because you were quiet for long stretches of the episode. So now I'm just thinking, when in your mind you're like, I can't believe I said I liked Epic Movie.
You're just replaying Mr. Tumnus's crib.
What have I done?
I think you gave it an Epic Movie a heart on Letterboxd and not Quantum of Solace.
Wait, did I did not give Epic Movie a heart.
But you should. We all should. Actually, everybody.
Yeah, go and support Friedberg and Seltzer so they can make their Star Wars parody.
You can give it a 1-star review. I don't care, but put a heart next to it. And also take away your heart if you have one on Quantum of Solace.
Get rid of it. Throw it in the trash can. I can't believe this was the only Daniel Craig movie I had to rent.
Sad.
Well,
that's the end of the episode. Tune in next week where we watch a much better film.
Disaster movie.
Yes. Mikey, again, thank you so much for coming back. We like having you on.
Thanks for having me.
Tune in next time on You'll Only Listen Twice. Bye. Mikey, do you have any final words?
No.
Good.
The end.
The end. We got it. Yeah. I have to say something to all you Quantum of Solace fans, because it seems to be growing in popularity. Earlier, I was really mean to you guys, and I said, fuck off, and fuck you, and you're an idiot for thinking this way. And I just want to say, I'm doubling down on that. You guys are fucking crazy. Fuck you guys. Grow the fuck up. Get away from me.
Watch a real
Shut
movie
up.
like Die Another Day.
Yes. Anyway.
A movie with some heart, because that's the thing. I actually remember thinking Quantum of Solace was better than Die Another Day when I first watched them. But watching them again, I will say Die Another Day has creativity. And
yes,
I can see what's going on.
Come to the dark side, my boy.
No.
Yes.
I never will.